Chapter 131. What is this place? That was the first thing He Ping said after entering the maze. She was surrounded by many puppets the moment she entered the maze. The puppets were not ordinary puppets but fish, prawns, and crabs of various shapes and sizes. They were not living creatures but puppets that were forged. However, He Ping felt that they were even more difficult to deal with. Rumble! He Ping's punch broke the outer shell of a puppet but did not completely destroy them. That made He Ping's eyes darken. As a direct disciple of a martial arts sect, He Ping was proficient in killing martial artists with a single punch. However, it was much more difficult to kill fish, prawns, and crabs with a single punch. That was because the weaknesses of fish, prawns, and crabs were different from humans. A technique that could kill humans with a single punch might not be able to kill fish, prawns, and crabs with a single punch. This was the best example. However, if fish, prawns, and crabs can block my path, it means that my strength is limited to this. After saying that, He Ping took a deep breath and started to fight. Their path, was to advance courageously. They would kill any god or Buddha they encountered. Wang Zhong realized that he had entered a maze. The maze was neither big nor small. Anyway, Wang Zhong could not walk out of it. He had tried more than 10 times and every time he made a wrong step, he would return to the starting point. Wang Zhong knew that he was an extremely patient person but his repeated failures and returning to the starting point had almost exhausted his patience. What the hell is this place? Wang Zhong said slowly. No matter how patient he was, who could stand being trapped here for so long? Zhong, come here. After pondering for a while, Wang Zhong took out an item. It was an ancient bell. This was something he had had since he was born. It was only when he became a martial grandmaster that he could barely summon it for his own use. This was his natal item. It was also his natal item and was extremely rare. Buzz, the bell emitted a faint light and enveloped him. After being enveloped by the bell, Wang Zhong saw an unbelievable scene. It turned out that there were many invisible formations in the maze. As long as he stepped on one, he would immediately be sent back to the starting point. Previously, Wang Zhong had returned to the starting point many times because he had stepped on a hidden formation time and time again. How treacherous! Wang Zhong did not know where he was, but the person who designed this place was really a cunning old fox. If he didn't have this natal bell to help him clear the fog and see the clear sky, he was afraid that he would have to go in circles here for the rest of his life. This was because Wang Zhong could tell that there were only 2 or 3 paths that could lead to the exit. As for the other thousands of paths, a single wrong step would cause one to return to the starting point. If he continued like this, he would most likely be driven mad here. Brother, there are some problems here. After entering the Dragon Gate, Lu Shuzhan said after a long silence. How so? Lu Tianbing asked. His talent in cultivation was above Lu Shuzhan's, but he was far inferior to Lu Shuzhan in smithing art. Therefore, Lu Tianbing couldn't tell what was strange about this place. Generally speaking, the Dragon Gate world, or the Dragon Gate, was created for the purpose of letting the dragon tribe live here. This replica Dragon Gate has taken care of everything, but they have placed too much emphasis on some of the confinement areas, which are places like prisons, Lu Shuzhan said slowly. This was a very strange place. It was as if the Dragon Gate world existed to trap something. So, are there treasures here? Lu Tianbing changed the topic and asked. Yes. Lu Shuzhan said decisively. If this place was built to trap something, then the treasures are definitely in the place to trap it. The purpose is to use this thing to suppress it. That doesn't sound good. Lu Tianbing chuckled. Why? Brother, are you scared? Lu Shuzhan blinked and asked. Scared? That doesn't exist. It's just that it's rare for me to come here and witness the birth of the Dragon Gate. It's such a good thing, okay? Lu Tianbing was full of confidence. He had been strong since he was young, and now he was even stronger. This time, He had come to challenge his peers in the world, and see just how much he was worth. Cultivation was important, but it didn't mean everything. Lu Tianbing was confident that he could fight with a peak martial grand master. Even if he might not win, he still had a chance of winning. That's great. Lu Shuzhan smiled. In terms of combat, she was far inferior to her brother. Lu Tianbing's talent in refining was far inferior to hers. However, when the siblings worked together, not to mention a peak martial grand master, even a true martial spirit would have to think twice. Huff huff. What the hell is this place? Kagura tried his best to climb. He was actually teleported to the bottom of a cliff. There were many restrictions here, so Kagura couldn't use his spiritual weapon to fly. He could only slowly climb up. As he climbed, Kagura couldn't help but look back. He found that the bottom was very deep, as if it was a black hole that could devour people. He immediately shuddered. If I knew this would happen, I wouldn't have come. Kagura continued to climb up while cursing. Dragon Gate, I hope you won't disappoint me. Mo Ling walked forward with light step. However, as she walked, she suddenly came to a stop. Is this the prison of this place? It looks so scary. I'm all alone. What if I run into danger? I should turn back. As Mo Ling muttered to herself, she really turned back and appeared 1,000 feet away in an instant. What a cunning little girl. She actually discovered us. The white-robed old woman walked out of the darkness and said coldly, There's no hurry. As long as they're still here, we can deal with them. There's no hurry. The monolith swordsman said. What's important now is that Feng Yu. How did he determine that there's something here? Since he didn't explain it clearly, we'll go find him and ask him. Feng Yaoguang said indifferently. Her eyes had lost their original luster and were emitting a strange light, as if she was a puppet. Feng Yu, work harder. You missed a lot of things just now. The dragon's soul felt its heart ache. It had finally managed to guide Feng Yu on how to obtain the treasures, but in the end, this brat would always miss a part of it, causing it to feel extremely pained. As a person, you can't be too greedy. If we take everything, won't people say that we did it all? If we miss a part of it that's not very valuable or insignificant, they'll think that it's all there is. Feng Yu didn't care and replied calmly. Chapter 132. This, Feng Yu's reason was sufficient, and the dragon's soul really couldn't refute his words. Let's continue to watch. The dragon's soul said gloomily. I know you're anxious to return to the peak, but you should know that haste makes waste. Feng Yu reminded the dragon's soul. This wasn't a bluff, but the dragon's soul had fallen from the Saint Realm. How could it be so easy to return to the Saint Realm? Sigh, I was too anxious for success. The dragon's soul sighed. Because the small worlds contained within each dragon gate have various meanings. To put it simply, each dragon gate is actually registered within the dragon clan. It's not something that can be casually created. It's rare to encounter one, so I directly used it as a life-saving straw. No rush. Feng Yu was about to comfort the dragon's soul when he suddenly found something in front of him. What's this? Looking at the frozen figure, Feng Yu's eyes widened. This is a dragon? The dragon's soul confirmed what it was faster than Feng Yu, but it's not a pure-blooded dragon. Its bloodline is more chaotic than mine, but it was definitely a peak martial emperor when it was alive. And with the body of a dragon, it's not strange to say that it can exert the strength of a martial ancestor. But why is it frozen? Feng Yu was puzzled. This is the Dragon Gate, the place of your dragon clan, but a frozen dragon corpse. No matter how you look at it, it's very strange. That's right, the division of the dragon clan's territory should be very obvious. If this dragon was a sinner when it was alive, it should be locked in a cage. If it was for other reasons, anyway, it couldn't be left in this place like a corpse in the wilderness and be frozen. It died of old age. Strange, why did it die of old age? It looks very young. The dragon's soul saw that this mixed-blood dragon's lifespan had come to an end, so it died here. One should know that the lifespan of demonic beasts was very long. This mixed-blood dragon's age was at most a few hundred years old, but it died of old age. There must be a problem with the cultivation method or something. In short, this was not a normal death. Wait, Feng Yu, let me try. The dragon's soul seemed to have thought of something and was extremely excited. What do you want? Feng Yu was a little wary. One had to know that in order to return to the peak, the dragon's soul was almost possessed. Everything it looked at seemed to be able to bring it back to its peak. This was not right. I want to try to possess this dragon corpse. The dragon's soul went straight to the point. In the cultivation technique I practiced back then, there was a soul-subduing technique. I said I might be able to possess it. Even though he was only a peak martial emperor and was already dead, I would only be a martial emperor after I possessed him. However, based on my abilities, I might be able to fight against a martial great master. Feng Yu's mouth twitched. She hadn't even attached herself to him yet, and she was already thinking so much. Was it really okay? Feng Yu, I've become the weapon spirit of the dragon teeth dagger. Without your permission, I can't go in and out freely, the dragon's soul pleaded pitifully. Alright, I'll let you try. Feng Yu thought for a while and agreed to the dragon soul's request. In fact, Feng Yu could see that the cultivation technique the dragon soul had practiced back then was not something evil. The problem was that it was all very bizarre and strange. It was not an ordinary bizarre and strange thing. Therefore, it could be said that it was an evil technique. However, from the looks of it, there were indeed not many bad deeds. There was no murder or arson. Many things that the dragon soul had used were reasonable. Even if the world called it a demon dragon, an evil dragon, or an evil dragon, Feng Yu was his own spiritual pet. Whether he was good or bad, it was up to him to judge. I don't want you to think, I want me to think. Thank you. The dragon's soul was pleasantly surprised. After Feng Yu relaxed his control, it immediately escaped from the dragon teeth dagger and flew into the frozen dragon corpse. Roar! Not long after, the dragon corpse actually moved. It can be controlled, but it will take some time. Why is this dragon's gender? Forget it, forget it. It's better than nothing. Feng Yu, you can help me stand guard, or look around yourself. I have nothing to do here for the time being. After the dragon's soul finished speaking, it immediately focused on merging into the dragon corpse. Think about how to bring it away while you're at it. This thing can't possibly be like a living thing. Feng Yu reminded the dragon's soul not to get carried away and forget these key points. The so-called soul-subduing technique, the so-called fusion, it was impossible to completely take over the nest. Firstly, the dragon's soul was so weak that it did not have such ability. Secondly, this kind of thing was never simple. If it was so easy to reincarnate in a corpse, wouldn't everyone in the world be immortal? Therefore, Feng Yu reckoned that he would still have to bring away this dragon corpse in the end. But the dragon corpse was too huge. Ordinary storage rings could not possibly store it. As for how to bring it away, that was the dragon soul's business. Feng Yu did not care. Hee, it's you. Feng Yu walked for a while when suddenly, a familiar female voice sounded. It's you, Mo Ling. Feng Yu turned to look. It was indeed the disciple of the Tianji Hall. Mo Ling, it's really great to meet you. There was something very terrifying just now. It almost scared me to death. Mo Ling said. Feng Yu rolled his eyes. The foundation of the Tianji Tower was already so strong that it made one speechless. There was simply no need to think too much about how strong the Tianji Hall, which was directly under the Tianji Tower, was. Now, Mo Ling was pretending to be a little white rabbit with him. Was she serious? I'm not spouting nonsense. I've really encountered something terrifying. Mo Ling sighed and said, I just met your little girlfriend, Feng Yaoguang of the Feng family. She's not my little girlfriend. Don't talk nonsense. Fang Yu rolled his eyes at Mo Ling. If you say yes, then yes. If you say no, then no, Mo Ling continued. But I did meet them. Why not together? Fang Yu asked curiously. Although they were not friends, under such circumstances, they would not be enemies. Since that was the case, why not work together? It was really strange. It's a long story. They seemed to have been possessed by something strange. When I saw them from afar, I hurriedly ran away, afraid that they would catch me. Mo Ling smiled bitterly and said, I'm a little stronger than my peers, but I don't have 3 heads and 6 arms. If I really met them, I wouldn't be able to defeat them. Oh? There's such a thing? Fang Yu was slightly surprised. Normally, the white-robed old woman and the bolder swordsman were together with Feng Yaoguang. If Feng Yaoguang was in trouble, didn't that mean that they were also in trouble? Chapter 133. Yes. She and her guards were all affected. I can't beat them alone, so I can only run. Now I'm afraid that the person controlling them can control even more people. Mo Ling became more serious. If so many cultivators here are controlled, we'll be in trouble. We won't be able to escape even if we have wings. Fang Yu's expression also became more serious. Even if Fang Yu was very strong, it was still impossible for him to fight so many enemies alone. It wasn't so easy to become the enemy of the entire world. Let's take it one step at a time, Fang Yu said. He didn't see it with his own eyes, so he didn't know how to solve it. However, the dragon soul might have a way to solve this kind of problem, but the dragon soul was busy and probably couldn't be distracted. Before it was done, he could only rely on himself. So you agree to let me go with you? Mo Ling said with a smile. Let's team up for now. Fang Yu didn't feel at ease with Mo Ling. Not to mention that Mo Ling's strength wasn't inferior to his, she was also from Tianji Hall. He really didn't know when she would be tricked. Fang Yu couldn't be bothered to scheme against others, but he also didn't like being tricked. However, with the current situation and the future uncertain, Mo Ling wouldn't casually lay her hands on an ally like him. You guys. He Ping fought her way out of a group of shrimp soldiers and crab generals with great difficulty. Suddenly, she was kicked over and couldn't help but be furious. When she saw that it was Feng Yaoguang, she was even angrier. Zhen Baolu was quite famous, but she was a direct disciple of a Wu Zong, and a Wu Zong who entered the martial saint realm with her fists. The disciple of such a person was actually beaten up by Feng Yaoguang. It would be a lie if she wasn't angry. Yes. You're not bad. Your master is a little fellow who entered the martial saint realm with his fists? He. As she spoke, the darkness in Feng Yaoguang's eyes grew bigger. He Ping, who was looking at her, was dazed and her mind went blank. When her eyes regained light, she was no different from Feng Yaoguang. Phew! As expected of a Wu Zong direct disciple who entered the martial saint realm. It feels so different. He Ping muttered to herself. This robust body actually had a terrifying strength that was not inferior to a demonic beast. This was something that couldn't be seen with the naked eye, nor could it be detected. Because He Ping had restrained everything to the extreme. Kiki, let's go find the next one. He Ping led them forward. Fang Yu and Mo Ling wandered aimlessly within the Dragon Gate, collecting treasures from time to time. However, Mo Ling wasn't too interested in this, with Fang Yu doing most of the work. Those from the Divination Hall are indeed different. They don't even care for these things. Fang Yu joked. Anyway, it's something left in the Dragon Gate. If I say that I don't like it, I'll be too arrogant. But, if you want it, I'll let you take it first. Take it as me doing you a favor. Mo Ling asked with a grin. Do me a favor? Fang Yu was a little startled. The other party was from the Divination Hall, yet he still wanted to do him a favor? The Tianji Hall is indeed powerful, but that doesn't mean that we disciples are equally powerful. I'll be frank. As for me, I'm from the same lineage as eldest senior sister. If our master were to be biased, who would you choose? Mo Ling and Fong Yu chatted casually. Your senior sister? Fong Yu thought for a while and said. Although he didn't know who Mo Ling's senior sister was or what kind of person she was, if Fong Yu had to choose, under normal circumstances, he would choose her. After all, she had become a martial spirit at such a young age. It wasn't that Mo Ling wasn't good, or that her future achievements would definitely be inferior to her senior sister. However, Mo Ling was still inferior to her eldest senior sister. This was an undeniable fact. So, for the sake of fairness, the three of us can't receive too much help. At the very least, unless it's an emergency that involves the divination hall, we won't receive much help. Mo Ling said helplessly, Tell me, what can a weak woman like me do by myself? I think you're pretty good, and you have the aura of a king. Now that I'm under you, I might even be able to become your lackey. You really know how to joke. The corners of Fong Yu's mouth twitched. This woman was really naughty. Even if what Mo Ling had said was true, that she could not rely too much on the resources of the Heavenly Secret Hall when she was roaming the world, would a prideful lady like Mo Ling, who had a pure heart and outstanding talent, not be able to find anyone to serve her? That was impossible. Therefore, Fong Yu didn't believe a single word of Mo Ling's nonsense. Seeing that Fong Yu didn't believe her, Mo Ling became anxious. What's wrong? You don't believe me? I'm being sincere. Do you know how I know there's a dragon gate here? Did you deduce it? Fong Yu looked at Mo Ling and said. Yes, I deduced it. Similarly, I'm being friendly to you now because I deduced it. Mo Ling said word by word with bright eyes. You deduced it? Mo Ling's words piqued Fong Yu's interest. What kind of result? You'll shine in the next 3 years. Your name will spread throughout the world. Mo Ling said seriously. I've deduced it many times. Only by relying on you can I surpass my senior sister. Otherwise, I'll have to live in her shadow for the rest of my life. I can't accept it. Do you understand? I can't accept it. Senior sister is on par with me, but she has surpassed me. That's because she was blessed by a few sages when she was young. I didn't receive such treatment, so I have to find a chance to turn the tables. Fong Yu was stunned by Mo Ling's words. So, he was actually so amazing. Of course, I'm just trying to walk with you. If I'm sure you're a good person, I can entrust my life to you, Mo Ling said shyly. Fong Yu tilted his head. It was hard to tell how much of this girl's words were true. If not for Mo Ling's act, Fong Yu might have really believed her words. It's not that you can't rely on me, but the problem is that I, Fong Yu, don't casually accept subordinate. If you really want to work for me, you'll have to queue up and show me how capable you are. If not, I don't want someone who'll drag me down. Fong Yu chuckled. Ignoring the stunned Mo Ling, he took a step forward. Hey, how can you be like this? She's a girl with good intentions, so what are you still considering? Mo Ling chased after him furiously. I didn't expect to obtain so many slaves after wandering around. Although there's no lack of decent fellows, most of them are just ordinary people. I don't need them. He Ping muttered to herself. Why don't I directly sacrifice them? Chapter 134. After saying that, He Ping and Feng Yaoguang formed a mysterious hand seal together. Other than them, there were also some figures that formed hand seals at the same time. However, there were still some who remained motionless like wooden chickens. Boom! In the next moment, a series of black lights appeared out of thin air. The motionless figures turned into clouds of blood mist and were absorbed by the black light. Not enough, not enough, not enough. After so many years, this little bit of flesh is far from enough. I want more, more. After saying that, the black light disappeared and the survivors suddenly moved. They were like walking corpses as they continued to move forward. Damn it, damn it, damn it! Kogure cursed as he ran. As soon as he entered, he was teleported to a strange cliff. After climbing up with great difficulty, he encountered a large group of cultivators who were like walking corpses. Kogure was a barbarian king and had seen many things. He could tell at a glance that these people were controlled by some kind of power and were now walking corpses. Although he didn't know if their original wills were destroyed after being controlled, to Kogure, anyone who came to provoke him was an enemy. There was no need to be polite. However, he didn't know that these guys were quite capable. After a fierce battle, Kogure didn't dare to continue fighting and retreated. This was because there were too many people being controlled. Kogure dared to say that if he continued to fight, he would really be drowned by the sea of people. "It's you, Kogure." Suddenly, a cold voice sounded. Kogure looked up and saw that it was Wang Zhong. "Wang Zhong from the branch of the Sage clan?" Kogure said lazily. Even if the other party was from the Sage clan, it was just a branch. Moreover, he didn't think that Wang Zhong was that much stronger than him. In that case, there was no need to give Wang Zhong face. Wang Zhong naturally saw Kogure's disdain. However, he didn't care too much about Kogure. He was just a barbarian, not worth mentioning. "Wang Zhong, why do you look so miserable? Could it be that you also encountered them?" Kogure asked with a smile. "What about you? Didn't you also encounter them?" Wang Zhong knew what he was talking about and said coldly. "I really don't know where these guys came from." Kegel's tone slowed down. Originally, he thought that someone had set this up, but seeing Wang Zhong in such a miserable state, he felt that it might not be intentional. After all, it was fine if they targeted him, but there were many who bullied him because he was from the barbarian tribe. The barbarian race's territory was too far away from here. As the saying goes, the sky is high and the emperor is far away. If they bullied Kagure, it would be difficult for Kagure to retaliate. But Wang Zhong was different. The family behind this saint's branch was quite powerful. Even if they weren't afraid of offending Kagure, they wouldn't be afraid of offending a saint. "This isn't right. It's you." At this moment, two figures arrived together. Wang Zhong and Kagure recognized them from their voices. They were the Lu siblings, Lu Tianbing and Lu Shenzhan. Compared to Kagure and Wang Zhong, Lu Tianbing and Lu Shuzhan were in a much better state. No matter what, they were a team of two. One was proficient in battle while the other was proficient in divine weapons. The number of spirit weapons they had with them was unimaginable. With such a combination, even if they were to face a martial spirit, he believed that they would be able to easily retreat. Therefore, although they weren't as elegant and graceful as they were when they arrived, they were definitely not miserable and ugly. The siblings weren't easy to deal with. They knew what had happened at a glance, so they didn't attack each other. "It seems that other than us, many people have fallen. I see that there are many martial spirits," Lu Shenzhan said softly. "Even martial spirits are being controlled. Who the hell is behind this?" Kagure couldn't help but curse. They weren't inexperienced brats. There weren't many people who could toy with them like this. Moreover, just as he had thought before, even if Kagure did not like him and bullied the barbarian tribe, what about Wang Zhong and the Lu siblings? They were all first-class forces. Why didn't they care about their backgrounds? This was really strange. "It seems that you've met them. I wonder how many of them there are now?" Mo Ling's voice arrived before he arrived. "Fang Yu came with Mo Ling." Fang Yu only took a glance and knew what had happened. Obviously, they had all encountered the situation that Mo Ling had mentioned. "Why are you all fine?" Lu Tianbing asked. The siblings had teamed up, so there wasn't much of a problem. However, Fang Yu and Mo Ling were together. Not to mention their strength. How could they work together sincerely? Lu Tianbing didn't believe it. "We ran fast. Moreover, we know them. We can't really do anything to them, so we could only run." Mo Ling sighed. Everyone was silent. This situation was really unexpected. No one would have thought that such a thing would happen. Why don't we form a temporary team? I formed a temporary team with Fang Yu. Mo Ling suddenly suggested. Why? Kager said indifferently. He wasn't interested in forming a team with these guys. Just because you met different groups and it's already so ugly. What if they all join forces? Tell me, will you all die? Mo Ling said with a smile. As for us, I just said that we're very good at running. If we can't win, we'll immediately run. I'm afraid you all don't have such a powerful escape method, right? It had to be said that Mo Ling's straightforward words caused their faces to change slightly. They had seen the strength of these controlled cultivators. Just the number of cultivators before had already made them somewhat miserable. If all of them joined forces and happened to meet them when they were alone, to be honest, they couldn't think of any other possibility other than dying. Thinking of this, their originally calm expressions suddenly turned ugly. They weren't prepared to die here, especially when they hadn't even found anything on this trip. If they died here directly, wouldn't that be too tragic? Temporary team. I agree, but it's limited to temporary team formation. If there's good stuff, unless we work together, we'll still go our own way. Wang Zhong was the first to agree. This time, he wanted to prove himself. Although he was favored by the sages, the enemy's attack on Wang Zhong was somewhat hostile. Wang Zhong knew that if he wanted to soar, he still had to rely on himself. This trip to the dragon sect was mainly to obtain treasures and strengthen himself. Although it was a matter of life and death, there were some things that had to be made clear in advance to avoid being entangled. Chapter 135. Fang Yu was not surprised that Wang Zhong was the first to agree. That was because he had discussed the possibility of joining forces with Mo Ling before they came. Fang Yu was not weak, and Mo Ling was not weak either. However, there were too many martial artists and they could easily drown them. Therefore, even if he could fight against 10 or even 100 martial artists, Fang Yu would not do such a stupid thing and ask for trouble. Wang Zhong was from a side branch of the sage's family. The sage thought highly of Wang Zhong and had even promised Wang Zhong that he would have a chance to become a member of the sage's family. However, the sage's son was not necessarily so outstanding. They did not like Wang Zhong joining the sage's family and had shown hostility towards him. However, Wang Zhong came from a humble background, and it was his chance to be valued by the sage. If he wanted to improve himself and his family, he had to obtain the sage's complete approval and make the sage fulfill his promise. Otherwise, it would be a waste of effort. Such a Wang Zhong was definitely not someone who would make a wasted trip. The safest thing to do now was undoubtedly to join forces. Therefore, no matter who suggested this, Wang Zhong would agree in the end after some consideration. Seeing this, Lu Tianbing, Lu Shuzhan, and Kager frowned. Lu Tianbing and Lu Shuzhan were siblings, and their opinions were definitely the same. Kager was from the barbarian tribe, and he did not care about many things. He only cared about one thing: benefits. Enough benefits. As long as there were enough benefits, his choice would be very simple. Joining forces was definitely the best option now. However, these people were not ordinary, and if they really joined forces, Kager would not be able to obtain many benefits. This was the only thing that made him hesitate. According to your description, He Ping, the direct disciple of the martial ancestor who entered the martial saint realm with her fists, is very likely to be controlled. With such an enemy and a group of extraordinary martial artists, even someone as strong as you will die if you face them head-on. Fang Yu said with a smile. If these people did not join forces and were allowed to move freely, they might become a hindrance. Fang Yu definitely did not want to see this scene. Therefore, whether these people were willing or not, Fang Yu would not let them go so easily. Of course, it's best if everyone is united against the outside world. I'm just afraid that they, with that thought in mind, Fang Yu glanced at Lu Tianbing and Lu Shuzhan. They were different from Wang Zhong and Kugyur. Wang Zhong and Kager didn't have anyone to negotiate with. As long as the conditions were suitable, they would agree. Lu Tianbing and Lu Shenzhan were different. None of them were stupid. Moreover, their styles complemented each other. It would not be easy to fool them. Fang Yu didn't want to kill anyone either. No matter how strong he was, he wouldn't be able to take on an army of thousands by himself, especially when the evil spirit was able to seize the body and control the will of others. Therefore, it would be best if they could come to an agreement, but if they couldn't, Fang Yu's gaze became calm when he thought of this. I agree. Kagu laughed and said, I saw that many of the people being controlled were wearing storage rings. If I snatch them, they'll be mine, right? If no one recognizes you, that's fine. Fang Yu thought for a moment and said, after this battle, I'm afraid the selection will begin. No matter what, I, Kagu am one of the seated contestants. It's not too much for me to obtain a spot, right? Kagu chuckled, not caring at all. Although some of the people here might enter the 4 great academies, Kagu was a first-class existence among his peers. As long as he entered one of the 4 great academies, he wouldn't be afraid of trouble. Wang Zhong's eyes flickered as though he had discovered a new wealth password. However, when he thought of the saint's expectant gaze, Wang Zhong suddenly felt that snatching storage rings was tasteless. Lu Tianbing and Lu Shuzhan exchanged glances. Since that's the case, we'll agree as well, Lu Shuzhan agreed on behalf of Lu Tianbing. All right. I look forward to working with you. Fang Yu's eyes lit up. Let's talk about the other party's situation first. Wang Zhong returned to the main topic. Although the few of them had a high chance of winning if they joined forces, it was impossible for them to control so many opponents at once. If they were careless, the boat would capsize. It seems like our opponents are suppressed here by the Dragon's Gate. To be suppressed by the Dragon's Gate, they're not simple. Lu Shuzhan expressed his opinion. Now that you've controlled so many cultivators, Fang Yu, you've caused a lot of trouble. This was because Fang Yu was the first to activate the Dragon's Gate. It wasn't an exaggeration to say that this was Fang Yu's fault. My fault. Fang Yu smiled helplessly. You're forcing me to do this. That's not right. If it wasn't for everyone's help, I wouldn't even be able to enter the Dragon's Gate, let alone cause trouble. That's right, I support Fang Yu. I can deduce that there's a Dragon's Gate here. It's just that you're missing an opportunity. How can you say that it's Fang Yu's fault? Mo Ling raised her hand and said. Lu Shuzhan was both wary and curious about this disciple from the secret heavenly hall. He was wary because Mo Ling was too strong. If it was a one-on-one battle, neither he nor his brother would be a match for her. As for joining forces, that was unlikely. Fang Yu and Mo Ling were on the same side. If it was 2 against 2, he wouldn't have any advantage. That was why Lu Shuzhan agreed after pondering for a long time. After all, no matter if it was against Fang Yu or the culprit, they wouldn't have any advantage. It wouldn't end well for them. It would be better to join forces with Fang Yu. The Dragon's Gate is a treasure trove. Unless we're not interested, it'll end up like this. It's a waste of time to complain now. The most important thing is to figure out how to deal with this problem and the ownership of the treasure. Wang Zhong emphasized the ownership of the treasure again. There were many treasures along the way, but Wang Zhong didn't care about them. He wanted the greatest treasure here. Even Wang Zhong wouldn't be able to take it all. Yes. We have to deal with the culprit. As for who gets the treasure to suppress the culprit, it'll depend on our own abilities. Kager didn't have the intention to explain in detail. If he did, he would probably split the benefits equally. As a member of the barbarian tribe, He wasn't interested in splitting the benefits equally. He wanted to take everything for himself. What do the two of you think? Lu Shuzhan asked Fang Yu. In her eyes, Wang Zhong and Kager wouldn't be a problem if they were alone. Fang Yu and Mo Ling were the key. I think. Fang Yu was about to speak when his expression changed. They're here. Mo Ling stopped smiling and said, It should be He Ping and Feng Yaoguang. He Ping and Feng Yaoguang. Fang Yu's expression changed slightly. Although I don't want to fight, they're here. We can only fight. Chapter 136. Fang Yu and He Ping did not have any relationship with each other, so if he made a move, there was nothing to worry about. Feng Yaoguang was his partner after all. If there was a chance, he would save her life. Oh? I found them. Just as Fang Yu and the rest discovered Feng Yaoguang and He Ping's arrival, He Ping also sensed the aura ahead. Most of the cultivators here have already been recruited by me. The remaining 10 to 20% have either fled in all directions or are bold because they are skilled. It seems that my luck is not bad to have met a few skilled people. He Ping said with a smile. Fang Yu is very mysterious and dangerous. Feng Yaoguang said, It's best not to underestimate him. I won't underestimate him. I've found many fragments of Fang Yu in these people's memories. He's a brat with both courage and strategy. It's best if I can use such a chess piece. He Ping was calm and composed. Moreover, Fang Yu was the first to say that there was something here. This meant that Fang Yu had a close relationship with the real dragon tribe. Otherwise, it would be impossible for him to discover the dragon gate here. Dragon tribe, speaking of the dragon tribe, He Ping gritted her teeth. If it weren't for the damned dragon tribe, she wouldn't have fallen to such a state. This time, as long as she escaped, she would definitely make the dragon tribe pay back all their debt. All of it. She, He Ping, would do what she said. They're coming for us. I'm afraid we can't avoid them this time. Mo Ling shrugged and said, What do you guys think? What do we think? Of course we'll kill them. Kager licked his lips and said, However, the storage rings I snatched are all mine. After we get out, you're not allowed to expose me. We're on the same side after all. I also guarantee that if we encounter any dangerous situation, I'll do my best to help. Heh, Mo Ling gave a soft chuckle in response. Wang Zhong was silent. He knew that he was a descendant of a sage. He wouldn't do such a thing. If I'm going to do it, I'll do my best and take the biggest treasure here. Wang Zhong thought to himself. We don't have any objections. It's just that our Lu family members are also being controlled. When you kill them, take it easy and let them go. I'll thank you. Lu Shenzhan said with a smile. Sure. Fang Yu immediately agreed. Just as they finished speaking, the other party's aura rushed towards them. So many martial artists. Dozens? More than 100. Kegu Air sniffed and his expression turned solemn. The barbarians had an intuition that was close to that of wild beasts. Sometimes, their intuition was not inferior to the signature ability of martial spirit. Hundreds of martial artists? When I first met them, there were only a few dozen of them. Wang Zhong's expression turned ugly as well. If there were only a few dozen martial artists, Wang Zhong felt that it would not be a problem to deal with them. However, there were over 100 martial artists, and there was no lack of martial grandmasters and martial spirits. Wang Zhong would be sending himself to death if he went alone. There was no other outcome. You actually didn't run away. Do you think you can defeat us? He Ping led the group over slowly like a queen. So she's He Ping. What a terrifying fist intent. Fang Yu's eyebrows twitched. He was intimidated by the other party's aura. He Ping was like a god of fist technique. Her fist intent wantonly filled the air. He Ping herself isn't that strong, but the one who possessed her or controlled her is very, very strong. It's so strong that He Ping's potential is stimulated. So if He Ping survives, it will definitely be of great benefit. Mo Ling explained. According to what you said, if she doesn't die, it will be a blessing? Fang Yu found it funny. Isn't it a blessing? Mo Ling covered her mouth and chuckled. This benefit is not inferior to a saint's blessing. It's just a little dangerous. Capture them. He Ping saw all of this with her eyes. She was neither happy nor sad. These proud sons of heaven, perhaps in the eyes of ordinary martial artists, were peerless monstrous geniuses, but in his eyes, they were all juniors not worth mentioning. She had seen many geniuses and monsters. They were even more terrifying. For example, the father and son who sealed her here. The father was a mixed-blood dragon and was the last guardian responsible for imprisoning her. The son was lucky. He was a mix of a human and a mixed-blood dragon. In the end, he had the talents of two races. The intelligence of the human race and the strength of the dragon race. In her impression, the dragon race was not as intelligent as the human race. Since ancient times, the human race had been known as wise. What about the dragon race? The dragon race lived for a long time and possessed extraordinary wisdom. Therefore, they were superior to many living beings. If she were to talk about who was more intelligent and talented, she would choose the human race. That was the reason why her race coveted the myriad spirit continent. There were all kinds of living beings here, and it was much more prosperous than her hometown. Are you an evil demon? Fang Yu pondered for a moment and asked straightforwardly. Oh? Evil demon? The moment that was said, everyone was stunned. In reality, the other party could control a martial artist's mind. Whether it was good or bad, the answer was obvious. Furthermore, to be suppressed by the dragon race, it must be an extremely evil being. That was needless to say. However, the answer of evil demon and devil race was still unexpected. Because the devil race was not a cabbage. If there really was a devil race, how could they be casually encountered by you? I'm not the first-generation devil race. I'm a descendant of the devil race. He Ping replied. Descendant of the devil race. Everyone's expression became nervous again. In their eyes, there was not much difference between the first-generation devil race and the descendant of the devil race. What's the difference between the first-generation devil race and the descendant of the devil race? Fang Yu began to discuss with the other party with great interest. Are you very interested in our devil race? He Ping blinked her big eyes and said. I can't say. It's just that between the devil race and our human race there was a demon-human race? Fang Yu's expression was the same as before. Demon-human race? Hey, this group of bastards is still here? From your tone, it seems that they have developed? He Ping's tone was extremely disgusted. Demon-human race, this is the devil race after the 9th generation. Their bloodline is thin, and the descendants of the devil race, from the 2nd generation to the 9th generation, the more advanced they are, the stronger their aptitude is. The most powerful is still the 1st-generation devil race. There are very few such existences. And I am the 3rd-generation devil race descendant. After a pause, He Ping said with a smile. No wonder you were suppressed here. You are really a dangerous character. Fang Yu suddenly realized. Well, the gossip is over. I see that you are a tactful person. Why don't you join me and help me do things? When the time comes, I will help you change your bloodline and become the 4th-generation devil race. How about it? He Ping threw an olive branch to Fang Yu. As soon as these words came out, everyone's attention fell on Fang Yu again, wanting to see what choice he would make. Chapter 137. Seeing this, Fang Yu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Do you have so little confidence in me? In any case, I'm a human. Isn't it too ridiculous for me to join the devil race? Hearing this, everyone was stunned for a moment and revealed an awkward expression. Fang Yu was doing well in the human race, and his name was gradually being known by the world. With such a bright future ahead of him, it was irrational to join hands with the demon race. Our myriad spirit continent doesn't have many records about the demon race. I originally wanted to take this opportunity to learn more about the demon race, but now it seems that I worried too much. Fang Yu smiled helplessly and became serious. Then let's fight. As soon as the word fight fell, Fang Yu's aura changed, as if a war god had descended. Actually, our myriad spirit continent does have a force that specializes in dealing with the demon race. It's called the Demon Slayer Hall, and it's very mysterious. If you have the chance, you can learn the truth about the demon race in the Demon Slayer Hall. Mo Ling suddenly spoke. The truth about the demon race? Fang Yu was surprised by this. What did she mean by the truth about the demon race? Interesting. He must be captured alive. Without waiting for Mo Ling's reply, He Ping had already ordered the people around her to attack Fang Yu and the others. Fang Yu and the others weren't weak, but in the end, they were just a few people. Compared to her army, they were simply not worth mentioning. Understood. The cultivators around He Ping responded and immediately attacked. Be careful. Fang Yu reminded everyone. These cultivators were already under the control of the demon race. Even if they killed them, there wouldn't be any problem. However, there were too many of them, and they definitely couldn't deal with one or two of them. However, Fang Yu discovered that he had still underestimated the other party. If he didn't deal with them carefully, he might really capsize in the gutter. Haha, the first bucket of gold. Kager's reaction was different from the others. Barbarians were bloodthirsty in their bones. He was greedy and bloodthirsty. Now that someone had delivered their life to him, how could he not be happy? Boom! 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 At this moment, the lucky martial masters who had entered this place had their luck turned into misfortune. Kegel killed each of them with a single punch. As he killed them, he didn't forget to take away their storage rings. Because this was the real reason why Kegel and the others had joined forces. 1, 2, 3 Kegel's eyes lit up. Wang Zhong's heart was moved, but in front of everyone, he couldn't reveal the same greed as Kager. He was a descendant recognized by the sages, so how could he be the same as the barbarians? In this place, only cultivators who survive are qualified to be called disciples of saints and direct disciples of martial ancestors. Otherwise, even I, the second strongest person among the younger generation of Mysterious Sky Hall, would be nothing more than a pile of yellow soil and a pile of dried bones. Mo Ling said softly. Those words touched Wang Zhong's heartstrings. Taking a deep look at Mo Ling, he decided to take action. You humans are really interesting. Even at this time, you still want to make a fortune. He Ping didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Aren't you looking down on me too much, huh? Just as He Ping finished speaking, she noticed a black shadow pouncing towards her. It was Lu Tianbing. Battle arm. Lu Tianbing summoned an item that covered his arm and smashed it towards He Ping. Monolith Swordsman. As He Ping retreated, the monolith swordsman blocked Lu Tianbing's attack. Boom. What shocked everyone was that the monolith swordsman blocked with his sword, but he was still forced back by 4 or 5 steps. This, He Ping was shocked. If it wasn't for the monolith swordsman's protection, she would have either her arm crippled or her head smashed open. It's true that the skilled are bold. He Ping gestured for the white-robed old woman to help. In the next instant, when the white-robed old woman took her first step, a bright light blossomed under her feet. It was as if she had been locked on by something. Don't harass my brother, Lu Shenzhan said sternly. Lu family siblings. He Ping searched through her memories for the Lu siblings. She was deep in thought. Master, let me help you. Feng Yaoguang was about to attack Lu Shenzhan. Lu Shenzhan's face turned pale. She was a first-class genius in the field of refining artifacts, but in terms of cultivation, she could only be said to be above average. Especially when it came to facing enemies. If she suddenly had to fight 1 against 2, it would be very difficult. She was in danger. Since we're on the same side, I can't watch you get killed for nothing. Leave her to me. Mo Ling appeared in front of Feng Yaoguang like a ghost and started a fierce battle with her. Feng Yu watched from the sidelines. He observed Feng Yaoguang's attacks and realized that they were stronger. The monolith swordsman's sword technique is terrifying, but Lu Tianbing has more than one spiritual weapon. He can rely on external items to stall the monolith swordsman for a while. The white-robed old woman's strength isn't weak, but Lu Xinjian has more treasures than Lu Tianbing. The one that trapped the white-robed old woman is a high-quality spiritual weapon. They can win this battle. Feng Yaoguang's strength shouldn't be as strong as Mo Ling, but after being controlled, even if Mo Ling went easy on her, they can still fight to a draw. This was impossible before. Feng Yu analyzed carefully. Could it be that the demons strengthened them while controlling them? Actually, whether they were strengthened or not, one could tell by looking at He Ping. However, if he continuously strengthened each and every one of them, that would be ridiculous, all right? Why? What do you think of my methods? He Ping approached Feng Yu. Even though there were more than 100 cultivators here, Kager and Wang Zhong were doing their best to fend off dozens of them. The more they resisted, the more benefits they could obtain. According to their previous agreement, whoever obtained the benefits would get it. There was nothing wrong with them putting in more effort and reaping more benefit. In addition, while Mo Ling and the other 2 were fighting, they would occasionally deal with cultivators passing by. As a result, there were only a few cultivators who came to Feng Yu's side. He Ping approached step by step. You don't know the benefits of becoming a demon. If you knew, you would beg me to become one. I think it's good to be a human. Feng Yu's expression was normal. Ding. Mission. Defeat the 3rd-generation demon. Mission? Feng Yu frowned. The super slaughter system was too naughty. It would often give out missions at crucial moments. This way, even if Feng Yu wanted to leave, it wouldn't be so easy. After all, the harder the mission, the better the reward. Ding. Kill the 3rd-generation demon. Increase the reward by 10 times. Feng Yu was stunned. Increase the reward? Did it mean that completing a mission could increase the reward by several times? Feng Yu instantly got the answer. Seeing this, He Ping smiled brightly. Why? Have you changed your mind and want to join me? No, demon, I want to kill you. Feng Yu said word by word. His killing intent clashed without any warning, causing He Ping's smile to stiffen. What the hell was this? Chapter 138. Why are you looking at me so fiercely all of a sudden? He Ping did not understand why Feng Yu's attitude had changed so drastically. Logically speaking, this should not be the case. What was wrong? Dragon Tooth Blade. Feng Yu charged at He Ping with the Dragon Tooth Blade in his hand. A dragon spiritual weapon? He Ping did not know what the Dragon Tooth Blade was, but that did not stop her from recognizing it. Her expression turned cold. Her hatred for the Dragon Clan was too great. They could not live under the same sky. Now that she realized that Feng Yu's relationship with the Dragon Clan was much closer than she had imagined, how could she be nice? It's a dragon spiritual weapon. After saying that, Feng Yu slashed with his blade. Flames spewed out from the blade. Even though He Ping had been strengthened, she did not dare to take it head-on. Boom! Feng Yu swept out with his saber, directly chopping off a pillar. This is a spiritual weapon pillar, right? Even if it's broken, it can't be broken by a martial grandmaster. He Ping's eyes flickered as she re-evaluated Feng Yu. She had thought that she had overestimated him. She did not expect that she had still underestimated Fang Yu. Then I'll continue to strengthen her. He Ping's eyes flickered as she decided to further strengthen this body. This body is still too weak. It would be great if it was a martial spirit. He Ping could not help but think. Actually, it was not that she did not want to continue strengthening. The problem was that He Ping was too young. Her foundation was too weak. Once she strengthened her carelessly and exploded on the spot, all her efforts would be for naught. As for the monolith swordsman and the rest, she did not consider them. Although the monolith swordsman had some cultivation, his potential was far inferior to He Ping and the rest. He was even inferior to Feng Yaoguang. However, now that things had come to this, she could only take the risk and strengthen He Ping. Otherwise, if she was killed by Fang Yu here, her entire plan would be ruined. Buzz! He Ping's aura gathered together with the spiritual light outside her body, rising steadily. 9-star martial grandmaster. Fang Yu's pupils contracted. This strengthening was too ridiculous. Huff, 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 the aura from He Ping's mouth was like a demon. Be careful, she has been infected by the aura of the demon clan. The dragon soul's voice suddenly sounded. Oh? Are you done? Fang Yu was shocked. Not yet, I'm still halfway there. This dragon's bloodline is too impure. If I want to take over the nest of a magpie, I'm still a little lacking. The dragon's soul sounded a little annoyed. I'm afraid it can only be used as a battle armor. Isn't that good? What belongs to others is ultimately not yours. Once you've recovered, you'll be able to form a new body. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Fang Yu said. That's easy for you to say, sigh. The dragon's soul was as disappointed as it could be. Just as Fang Yu was about to reply, He Ping had already launched a punch at him. Bang! 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 He Ping's fists landed on Fang Yu's saber again and again, causing the blood and qi in his body to surge. Pooh! Fang Yu couldn't help but vomit blood. This is too strong. Isn't this cheating? No, if this drags on, I won't be able to make a comeback. Fang Yu secretly made up his mind. The other party was an evil demon who had lived for many years, a third-generation demon. In terms of ability and knowledge, she was definitely above him. Otherwise, there would be so many martial artists here, and they wouldn't be reduced to her playthings. Azure Dragon enters the sea. Fang Yu approached He Ping. He didn't blindly suppress her with the dragon teeth saber. Instead, he changed his attack and used a spiritual martial art. Roar! Azure Dragon enters the sea was mighty and mighty. Its power in the dragon sect was even stronger than before. Isn't this the spiritual martial art of the Tang sect? Mo Ling squinted her eyes. Ordinary people might not be able to see some details about Fang Yu, but she could see it clearly. Otherwise, she wouldn't have taken the initiative to cooperate with Fang Yu. Now it seemed that this person was indeed something. Azure Dragon enters the sea. What is his relationship with the Tang sect? Lu Xinjian couldn't understand. The Tang sect was a force with a long history. It was even above the Lu family. This was because the Tang sect had always had more powerful martial artists. The Lu family had their own way of doing things. They focused on forging weapons, and not on becoming a powerful force. Because of this, the Lu family had, other than their cultivation, had always considered the ability to forge weapons. As long as the Lu family's forging skills existed, the Lu family would never be destroyed. The three great spiritual martial arts of the Tang sect were important to the Tang sect. They were no less important than the Lu family's forging skills. Although it was rumored that Fang Yu had saved the eldest daughter of the Tang family, to be taught a spiritual martial art like Azure Dragon enters the sea was a bit. Could it be that there is some unknown secret between him and the eldest daughter of the Tang family, Tang Wu? The more Lu Xinjian looked, the more he felt that this was the case. If not for this, Fang Yu would not have been able to obtain Azure Dragon enters the sea. Just as everyone's thoughts were running wild, the Azure Dragon enters the sea transformed into a giant dragon and pressed down on He Ping. Tiger fist path, heavenly tiger roars to the sky. He Ping took a deep breath and her lungs puffed up. At the same time, she roared to the sky and punched out like a ferocious tiger. A tiger and a dragon, one down and one up. In an instant, it was as if ancient divine beasts were having a life and death battle. He Ping's divine tiger was fearless, while Fang Yu's azure dragon was overbearing. Rumble! The two spiritual martial arts intertwined with each other and emitted an extreme spiritual light. Countless rays of light floated, making it hard for people to open their eyes. This, Lu Tianbing frowned. He had thought that he was already in the top 10 of the younger generation. He did not expect that there would always be someone better than him. He Ping and Fang Yu were not inferior to him. Kager and Wang Zhong did not speak, but their hearts were also in turmoil. Let's not talk about He Ping for now. She was controlled by the evil demon and was strengthened by the evil demon. They couldn't be lumped together. But what about Fang Yu? He was not strengthened by the evil spirit. Interesting. Kager slapped a martial artist beside him. He was greedy and bloodthirsty. He liked to challenge experts. This was the insanity of the barbarian tribe. If there was an expert that he could kill, he would not care about the amount of money. In front of an expert that could kill, nothing else mattered. Wang Zhong, on the other hand, was thinking about Fang Yu. At first glance, Fang Yu looked ordinary. However, when they thought of the uproar he caused after his appearance, no one would be able to remain unmoved. Especially when Fang Yu was fighting against the strengthened He Ping, he was not at a disadvantage. What if he was at the same level as He Ping? Wouldn't he be able to kill He Ping instantly? How can this guy be so terrifying? He Ping was also dumbfounded. She had been imprisoned here for many years. Why did it seem that she could not understand these juniors? I must kill him today. He Ping made up her mind and her killing intent surged. For a junior like Fang Yu, it was obvious that he had some incredible background. Rather than continuing to tangle with him, it was better to cut all ties and end all troubles once and for all. Fang Yu did not know what they were thinking and did not want to know. His killing intent continued to gather. Chapter 139. He Ping is too strong after being strengthened. If I continue to fight, I will definitely lose. I will die if I lose. Fang Yu was not a fool. How could he not see the killing intent in the other party's eyes? He Ping originally had the intention to recruit Fang Yu, that much was obvious. However, after discovering that Fang Yu had a close relationship with the Dragon Clan and had terrifying potential, He Ping changed her mind. Fang Yu would die today. He would die here. If I can't kill her with one slash, I can only find another chance. Fang Yu held the dragon teeth blade tightly. Setting sun. Fang Yu slashed out with his blade. What? He Ping was shocked. After using a spiritual martial arts, especially such a powerful spiritual martial arts, normally, one would need to slow down for a while before they could recover. Even a martial grand master would not be able to continuously use a spiritual martial art of the same strength after using it. Fang Yu's slash was extremely terrifying. Although it was not as powerful as a spiritual martial art, it was not much different. Even He Ping did not dare to face it head-on. Hiss! He Ping retreated as she fought. However, one of her wrists was still cut off by Fang Yu. Fang Yu's heart skipped a beat as he retreated. What is he doing? Seeing Fang Yu retreat at the speed of light, everyone was at a loss. Wasn't he going to fight with the demon? Why did Fang Yu suddenly leave? He wants to kill me. However, his killing intent has disappeared. He does not have the confidence to fight with me for the time being. As for me, I will not give him the chance. He Ping chuckled. Her severed wrist actually flew up in a strange manner and reattached itself to her wrist. What kind of technique is this? Kega was shocked. Even for a barbarian with a strong body, it was not easy to reattach their limbs after they were cut off. He Ping had actually fused them back together. It was simply godly. Demon's technique, are you interested? He Ping asked with a smile. Not interested. The barbarian race is already disliked, and with the addition of an evil demon, I, Kegu heir, will probably be despised to death. Kegel said with a self-deprecating smile. You little things, I'll come back to deal with you later. Right now, I'm going to twist off Fong Yu's head and make it into a wine cup. After saying that, He Ping took a step forward. She actually merged with the void and chased after Fong Yu. Not good. Mo Ling wanted to help, but Feng Yaoguang blocked her. Master has important matters to attend to now. No one is allowed to disturb him. Feng Yaoguang said coldly. Hey, I think Fong Yu is pretty good. Isn't your relationship with him special? Even if you're not a little lover, you still have some feelings for him. Are you just going to watch Fong Yu die? Mo Ling sighed. Feng Yaoguang's eyes flickered slightly, as if she was struggling with something. However, she quickly returned to normal. I don't know what you're talking about. Master's enemies are my enemies. They must die. Then there's nothing more to say. After speaking, Mo Ling suddenly raised her hand. 1. As Mo Ling raised her hand, a pitch-black array wrapped around Feng Yaoguang. What's this? Feng Yaoguang realized that she could not break out and could not help but turn pale with fright. Of course you can't break out. Wait inside obediently. After saying that, Mo Ling gradually left. As expected of a disciple of Secret Hall. She really has methods that we don't know. She has been hiding it all this while. Lu Shuzhan did not have a good impression of Mo Ling. He was more wary of her than curious. Now, it seemed that he was right to be wary of Mo Ling. Swish. Fong Yu fled while looking back at He Ping. When he realized that the other party was still chasing after him, his face could not help but turn ugly. Is she trying to see what other trump cards I have? Fong Yu saw through He Ping's thoughts. This evil demon was wary of his relationship with the dragon race. Although He Ping didn't say anything about the dragon clan that had suppressed her here back then, she was still extremely fearful of them. Then I'll let you see my trump card. With that thought in mind, Fong Yu suddenly flashed and approached the frozen dragon corpse. This is... Looking at the frozen dragon corpse, He Ping was stunned for a moment before laughing out loud. Idiot, I told you. Let me out and I'll give you a chance. In order to suppress me, your race either died or was injured. You're the only one left. How dare you stop me? Now that you're dead, you even sealed your corpse in ice. What are you trying to do? Do you want to keep an eye on me even when you're dead? Rumble. The next moment, the frozen dragon corpse suddenly moved, giving He Ping a huge shock. This. He Ping's body stiffened as if she recalled the horror of being suppressed by the dragon race in the past. He Ping, who reacted, was shocked and furious. What was going on? The dragon race that suppressed her back then was already dead. She was free. What was there to be afraid of? She was fearless. It's already dead. Who's controlling the dragon corpse? He Ping, who had calmed down, also saw the clues. Bam! In the next moment, a huge dragon claw slapped over. He Ping quickly dodged. Indeed, someone possessed the dragon corpse. It couldn't even win against me when it was alive. How can it win against me when it's dead? He Ping was full of confidence. What if I'm included? Fong Yu stood on the dragon head and said slowly. The dragon's soul had not completely controlled the dragon corpse. If he attacked rashly, the effect would not be too good. But the situation was urgent. If he did not attack now, he would probably be left here. In comparison, it was unavoidable for him to make a move in advance. Oh. Seeing this, He-Ping finally understood where Fong Yu's confidence came from. Dragon Tooth Blade and Dragon Corpse. You really have a deep relationship with the dragon race. He-Ping's murderous intent was awe-inspiring. She hated the dragon race the most. Fong Yu, you brat. I haven't controlled the dragon corpse yet, but to kill a demon bastard is still not a problem. The dragon soul grumbled, but it was also proud of itself, because it saw fear on the other party's face. Fear was almost written on He-Ping's face. Even if this bastard dragon was reborn, he wouldn't dare to say that to me. Who are you? He-Ping glared at it angrily. But you're also not at your peak. Now you can only rely on a junior. How pitiful. The dragon soul did not forget to step on the other party. Although it had never come into contact with a real demon, when it was at its peak, it was a powerhouse in the dragon race. It was not afraid of a revived demon at all. Oh, is that so? Looks like I've been too lazy to make a big fuss. Instead, I've been looked down upon. Since that's the case, I'll show you my true ability. After saying that, other than fist intent surging in He-Ping's limbs and bones, there were also streaks of black light gushing out. Under the cover of the black light, He-Ping's body became huge. This was the true body of the demon. Chapter 140. Demon's True Form. The dragon soul's first reaction was the demon's true form. This time, it could no longer remain calm. Originally, it thought that by roughly controlling the dragon corpse, it could barely exert some strength and gain the upper hand. It did not expect the demon to reveal its true form. You can't play like this, okay? Strike first and gain the upper hand. Fong Yu's eyes flashed as he raised his saber and charged forward. Heavenly Sun Rise. Fong Yu slashed out with his saber. It was like a sun rising slowly, getting stronger and stronger. Dragon Sweeping Demon. The dragon soul was unwilling to fall behind and attack together with Fong Yu. Insignificant skill. He-Ping was not frightened by Fong Yu and the dragon soul. If the dragon soul was at its peak state or completely controlled the dragon corpse, she might really be afraid. After all, she was very far away from the peak. If she was not careful, it would not be strange for her to fail miserably. However, the weakling in front of her was even weaker than she imagined. He still wanted to threaten her like this? Dream on. Let's stay here together today. The huge He-Ping blasted out an ordinary punch. Boom! However, this punch directly flipped Fong Yu and the dragon corpse over. Fong Yu spat out blood as the dragon corpse rolled, completely unable to resist the demon's true form. Too powerful. Unless I completely control this dragon corpse, we won't have the slightest chance to fight back. The dragon's soul hurriedly said. Originally, it thought that it could take the opportunity to show off, but in the end, it was overturned on the spot. Let's go. Where there's life, there's hope. You and I will split up. After Fong Yu finished speaking, he took a step forward. Hey you! The dragon's soul was so anxious that it wanted to curse. Fong Yu's words were easy, but it was attached to the dragon corpse. If you let it go, where could it go? Forget it, let's pretend to be dead first. The dragon's soul did not care about anything and directly circled together, burying its head in the middle. Even the sinister devils were dumbfounded by his appearance. Humph, I won't kill you for now. Anyway, you can't control this mixed blood dragon. I can see that the bloodline of this soul of yours is superior to that of the mixed blood dragon. After saying that, the demon really left. He really left? The dragon's soul could not believe that its luck was so good that the other party let it go just like that. But while I'm relaxed, Fong Yu might be out of luck, poor Fong Yu. The dragon's soul sighed softly. The only thing I can do is to quickly take control of this dragon corpse and strive to avenge you. The void rats have come to live. Fang Yu knew that he was no match for the evil demon if he ran away. Putting aside the fact that the other party had been locked in here for many years and was far more familiar with this place than him, the sinister demon had already revealed its true form. Just the aura emanating from its true form was enough to make one tremble in fear. Fang Yu did not dare to directly provoke such a terrifying existence. Although provocation was sometimes courageous, sometimes it was ignorant. If one was courageous, one would not die. If one was ignorant, not even a speck of dust would be left. Why is it that every time I wake up, you're either being beaten up or running away? The void rats said helplessly. During this period of time, it had been constantly digesting the energy in its body and gradually recovering to the level of a half-step demon king. Then, it would break through to the demon king level in one go. Therefore, it did not like to be awakened by Fang Yu so often. However, it was just saying. Every time Fang Yu summoned it, it was either in a life or death situation. It and Fang Yu had made a bloodline contract. If Fang Yu died, it would not be able to live. Therefore, at the critical moment, it still had to save Fang Yu's life to prevent itself from being implicated and dying together. That would be very bad. I have to find the thing suppressed here. Fang Yu's tone was hurried. When the dragon soul and I came in, we already deduced that there are still these few places. We can only try. If we fail, I'm afraid we'll die. The void rats was speechless. All right. Tell me the location, I'll try. All right. Fang Yu nodded. Oh? Is this the spatial talent? He Ping, who was chasing closely, was slightly taken aback. With her current strength, chasing Fang Yu was definitely a game of cat and mouse. However, Fang Yu actually disappeared all of a sudden. What was going on? You think you can escape? Here in the Dragon Gate, you can't escape from my palm. I'm much more familiar with the Dragon Gate than you are. He Ping sneered. That's right, she had been suppressed here for many years. Year after year, she was very clear about every inch of this place. However, there were a few places that she did not dare to casually try. The heart of dragon blood. I wonder which dragon clan expert refined this supreme treasure. He Ping recalled the heart of the dragon blood and was both shocked and afraid. Wasn't it? As a third-generation demon, she was an elite existence among the demon clan. However, when faced with this dragon blood heart, she could only be suppressed and then guarded by a group of dragon clan members for generations. However, she was not to be trifled with. Although she was suppressed here and could not go out, she had the ability to control people's hearts. Under her instigation, the dragon clan members here either died or were injured. In the end, only a young mixed-blood dragon was left to guard her. The mixed-blood dragon was not strong, but its Tao heart was stable. No matter what she said, it could not be shaken. She was one step behind. Later, the mixed-blood dragon disappeared for a period of time. When it reappeared, it brought along a little boy. The little boy's eyes were very clear. She knew that this was a mixed blood between the dragon clan and the human clan. Being mixed blood was not necessarily a good thing. If they were unlucky and combined the shortcomings of both the human clan and the dragon clan, it would definitely be a disaster. However, the mixed blood dragon's luck was not bad. The little boy's talent was monstrous. He grew up quickly and then went out to travel. During this period, the third-generation demon and the mixed-blood dragon had a shocking battle. However, the third-generation demon had been suppressed in the dragon clan and weakened a lot. The mixed-blood dragon also fought in the Dragon Gate and its combat power increased greatly. In the end, the third-generation demon could not do anything to the mixed-blood dragon and was seriously injured and fell into a deep sleep. When she woke up again, the little boy had returned. He strengthened the seal. This made the third-generation demon's hair stand on end. How many years had it been? This dragon person had the ability to suppress her? It was really unbelievable. Fortunately, he did not come back after that. I think he was preparing to let the dragon gate gradually erase my existence. He had a good idea, but things in the world are often not so simple. He Ping's smile became more and more proud. No matter how this dragon person thought, he probably would not have thought that a group of hotheads would find her and let her out. She was not far from seeing the light of day again. On the other hand, this is the dragon blood heart? The thing that suppresses the demon clan. When the void rat made a space jump, Fang Yu recognized the thing in front of him at first glance. He could not help but hold his breath. Chapter 141. In front of Fang Yu, there was something shining brightly. It was a small blood-colored dragon with vitality. Its spirituality was so strong that it was not much different from a dragon's soul. One must know that a dragon's soul was not an ordinary existence. It was someone who had reached the saint realm. The spirituality of this small blood-colored dragon in front of him was not inferior to a dragon's soul. One could imagine how strong it was. Fang Yu, be careful. The void rat seemed to have sensed something. Just as it was about to warn him, it was enveloped by a strong light and fell into a deep sleep. Fang Yu subconsciously became vigilant, but he did not feel any danger or hostility. Oh, kid with a special invitation letter, and it was given out by our academy. An indifferent male voice rang out without any warning. Fang Yu looked over in surprise, only to discover that a figure had appeared beside him without him noticing. This was a man who looked extremely refined. He calmly sized up Fang Yu, as if waiting for something. Junior Fang Yu greets senior. Fang Yu thought for a while and cupped his fist. You're a polite little fellow, the refined man smiled and said. I think you should have guessed who I am. The first dean of the Azure Dragon Academy? Fang Yu answered carefully. Yes. How did you enter the depths of the great dragon pool? Although I remember that the people of the world were somewhat fanatical about me, they would at most dig 3 feet into the ground. But you dug 100 feet into the ground. What's your purpose? The first dean asked in a natural and unrestrained manner. His way of asking was straightforward, which made Fang Yu slightly stunned. Was it really okay to ask him so directly? Actually, Junior received the care of a dragon by chance. Fang Yu embellished his experience with the dragon soul. Little did he know that the first dean's expression became strange. According to what you said, this dragon corpse is most likely my father's. What? First dean, your father's corpse? This. Fang Yu was a little confused and did not know how to respond. In that case, they even borrowed the corpse of the first-generation dean's father to fight, but they still couldn't win? I don't blame you. Back then, I said that I wanted to move my father's corpse away, but he refused. He said that he wanted to guard it until the evil spirit died. Back then, it wasn't that I couldn't kill the evil spirit, but I had to pay a great price. The first-generation dean said slowly. Very, very big? At that time, first-generation dean, you were already one of the strongest in the world, right? You actually couldn't kill this evil spirit? Fang Yu was shocked. It seemed that the evil demon's ability was beyond his expectations. The most powerful aspect of evil spirits is their powerful vitality. They can play with people's hearts. This depends on the type of evil spirit. Some evil spirits have unparalleled battle prowess, some are good at scheming, and some are good at playing with people's hearts. The third generation of evil spirits suppressed here is one of them. As he spoke, the first dean paused for a moment before continuing. Back then, I couldn't kill her. Now I don't know where my main body is, because I am a thought that was left behind. I wonder where his main body is? First dean, you're still alive? Fang Yu couldn't help but click his tongue. The Azure Dragon Academy had been passed down for several generations. Yet the first dean was still alive? Hearing this, the first dean's expression became strange. You seem to have bad intentions when you say these words. Why can't I still exist in this world? Cough, cough, this. Fang Yu lightly coughed a few times. Forget it, this isn't important. Since you've escaped here, you'll eventually be discovered by the evil spirit. A battle is unavoidable. I left behind this thought so that in the future, when those hotheads break into this place, I can turn the tide. The first dean said seriously, however, I have a condition. If you can't agree to this condition, you can still fight the evil spirit alone. The change in style was too fast. Fang Yu was somewhat unable to accept it. I wonder what the condition is. As I said before, the invitation letter that you received from the 4 great academies is a special invitation letter. It was issued by our Azure Dragon Academy. This kind of invitation letter is limited in number. Once the person who received it is selected, we have the priority to choose. Moreover, we'll give you better treatment. But if you refuse, then we'll have wasted an opportunity. The first dean stared at Fang Yu. I see that you're also a troublemaker. Other than our Azure Dragon Academy, I'm afraid that there aren't many academies that are willing to accept you. First dean, I say, your words are also, Fang Yu wanted to explain, but the other party didn't give him a chance. You only need to say whether you agree or not. The first dean said coldly. All right, I agree. Fang Yu felt his hair stand on end from the other party's gaze. He could only agree. Moreover, Fang Yu had something that he wanted to confirm. Old Wang, who was this deity? At that time, there wasn't anyone by Fang Yu's side. The only person who had the opportunity to send an invitation letter was undoubtedly Old Wang. Now that he said that Fang Yu received a special invitation letter, he believed that the first dean wouldn't lie to him about this point. This made Fang Yu even more interested. Could it be that Old Wang was really a higher-up of the Azure Dragon Academy? Otherwise, this couldn't be explained. Therefore, no matter what, Fang Yu had to make a trip to the Azure Dragon Academy. Moreover, the Void Martial Emperor's cave was in the Azure Dragon Academy. How could he miss it? This thought of mine can attach itself to you and activate the power of a martial king for 100 breath. Therefore, you have to deal with or defeat the evil spirit within 100 breath. It's best to deal with her. She has lived long enough. It's time for her to die. As the first dean spoke, his killing intent was awe-inspiring. Even Fang Yu felt a chill run down his spine. The first dean continued to speak. This is an opportunity to comprehend the power of a martial king in advance. You have to cherish it. Because, for you, this kind of opportunity, it's not of much use. Fang Yu was caught off guard by the way the first-generation headmaster spoke. Why is it not of much use? Fang Yu was a little confused. The first dean's way of speaking was really unique. Everyone's path of martial arts is different. Yours and mine are even more so. To comprehend the power of a martial king in advance, at most, you will be able to sense the difference between the realms. As for the other things, you're not even a martial spirit. You haven't even developed your spiritual sense. How could you possibly comprehend more? The first dean lightly shook his head. Speaking of which, how did you find this place? This place is not one of the buildings revealed by the Dragon Gate. The first dean narrowed his eyes and asked. Although he had a scholarly appearance, when he stared at someone, he couldn't help but feel a sense of oppression. It was as if in front of him, all secrets were no longer secrets. My 5 senses are naturally strong? Fang Yu thought for a while and said. Chapter 142. The first-generation dean obviously did not believe it. At the same time, he had some opinions about Fang Yu's perfunctory attitude. Forget it. As long as you enter the Azure Dragon Academy, everything can still be discussed. At that time, you and I will meet one day. After saying that, The first generation Dean turned into specks of light and attached to the back of Fang Yu's hand. This was an Azure Dragon imprint, the symbol of the Azure Dragon Academy. Fang Yu slowly retracted his gaze and once again landed on the treasure in front of him. Heart of Dragon Blood. Fang Yu had just finished reading the name when he saw this item flash and disappear. Ding! Congratulations to the host for completing the mission. Obtained the Heart of Dragon Blood. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining the mission reward. N? When the Super Slaughter System reported Fang Yu's mission reward this time, he was completely dumbfounded. It could be done like this? I actually really came here. When he Ping walked in front of a building that was mixed between nothingness and reality, she could not help but look solemn. That's right, this place was the place where the sealed item was kept. The Dragon Gate was a spirit weapon unique to the dragon race. However, only the Dragon Gate in the ancestral land of the dragon race was the authentic one. Only it possessed all the might of the Dragon Gate. The rest of the imitations did not possess most of the characteristics of the Dragon Gate at all. It was already very impressive to have half of it. This Dragon Gate's quality was mediocre. However, with the Heart of Dragon Blood here, its power increased by a lot. It could not be mentioned in the same breath. The biggest reason she had been suppressed here was that after she dealt with all the dragons, she actually realized that she could not deal with the Heart of Dragon Blood. If she could not deal with the Heart of Dragon Blood, everything would be impossible. It was precisely because of this that she had been enduring with the Heart of Dragon Blood, enduring with the Dragon Gate. Let's see who could outlast the other. However, according to the various signs from before, as an evil spirit, she obviously could not outlast the other party. Fortunately, Fang Yu and the rest suddenly appeared. The sudden rise of the surprise troops gave her a chance to regain a new life. Now that Fang Yu was hiding inside, the Heart of Dragon Blood was also there. As long as she passed this stage, then everything would be settled. Buzz. As an evil spirit, she was naturally experienced and knowledgeable. She saw through this kind of concealment method at a glance and easily removed the restriction outside. As for why he hadn't given it a try after so many years, in the end it was because of fear. Back then, she had been young and powerful. In the end, she had been suppressed for many years by a Dragon Gate and a Heart of Dragon Blood. Is it 1,000 years or... The sinister devil himself was somewhat dazed. After thinking about it, she hated the dragon race and the people close to the dragon race even more. These bastards deserve to die. Boom! The evil spirit pushed open the door and entered. Her gaze was cold. The people here, these guys, they must all be killed. You've come. Fang Yu stood with his hands clasped behind his back facing the evil spirit. Oh? What was he trying to do? Playing tricks? Or do you want to die with dignity? The sinister devil asked with a smile. From her point of view, Fang Yu was doomed to die no matter what. The difference was whether Fang Yu wanted to die with dignity or something else. Why don't I sacrifice you and turn you into a puppet? I think it should be very interesting. The evil spirit's smile did not diminish. She looked at Fang Yu as if she was looking at a puppet that had been forged. There's one of you called Lu Xinjian? She seems to be a half-step master. I think we should let her do it for us. It's not cheap to hire a master refiner. Even if she's a half-step master. Not to mention, I, Fang Yu, am not ready to become a puppet. Fang Yu said slowly. Then you can prepare in advance. With that, the evil spirit took a step forward. All the water vapor and spiritual energy retreated. This was the innate dignity of the third-generation evil spirit. It was the dignity of the evil spirit. I want you to die here today. The third-generation evil spirit said word by word. Is that so? Fang Yu slowly raised his hand and said, Get out of here! Who do you think you are? Before the evil spirit could finish her words, she was pushed out by an inexplicable force. This is absolute command? How can you understand the absolute command of a sage? The evil spirit was horrified. Absolute command was an ability that only a sage could have. After all, being called a sage meant that one had obtained part of the recognition of heaven and earth. It was not strange to have absolute command. However, Fang Yu was only a martial grandmaster. How could a martial grandmaster have absolute command? Could it be the evil spirit thought of another possibility? It was a possibility that she did not dare to think about. That's right. I've become the master of the dragon sect. Fang Yu said seriously. Impossible. The evil spirit shouted in disbelief. The biggest prerequisite to become the master of the dragon sect is to have the blood of the dragon clan. You're not a dragon. She hated the dragon clan and remembered the stench of their blood. Although Fang Yu had a close relationship with the dragon clan, Fang Yu was definitely not a dragon. She was very sure of that. Fang Yu smiled but did not say anything. He could say that he could not explain what was going on, because the instigator of all this was the super slaughter system. After knowing that the reward for completing the mission was the ownership of the dragon sect, Fang Yu was dumbfounded. The dragon sect, even if it was a replica, was a treasure that was hard to come by. Many powerful dragon clan established their own clans because they were proud of having a dragon sect. If he sold a dragon gate, it would definitely attract many dragon clan powerhouses to swarm over. If it was used as a betrothal gift, it was possible to get a noble lady of the dragon clan to marry him. Of course, Fang Yu's understanding of the Dragon Gate was far from that detailed. All he knew was that the Dragon Gate had somehow become his. Not only that, Fang Yu was now closely connected to the dragon sect. He could even clearly sense everything that was happening here. For example, if the dragon soul was doing something embarrassing, there was nothing he could do. Hey, what are you doing? Fang Yu transmitted his voice. Although he had a mental connection with the dragon soul, it was still very difficult to communicate with each other in such a hidden space. Who is it? The dragon soul turned pale with fright. It had just sensed that Fang Yu's aura had disappeared. The connection with itself was faintly discernible. In this situation, there was only one possibility. Fang Yu had met with misfortune. Thinking of this, the dragon soul could not help but sigh. It did not expect its little friend to have such a short life. He was not even a martial spirit and he was already dead. The heavens were jealous of geniuses. Just as it was reminiscing about Fang Yu, someone suddenly spoke. It would be a lie if it was not shocked. It's me. What are you doing? Pretending to be an ostrich? I want to fight with this demon. Come and help me. Fang Yu said impatiently. At this time, it still had the mood to pretend to be an ostrich. Chapter 143. Fang Yu, it's really you. You're not dead? The dragon soul was shocked that Fang Yu was safe and sound. According to the previous rhythm, Fang Yu was most likely dead. There was no possibility of him coming back to life. However, Fang Yu was not dead. Fang Yu had come back to life. Of course I'm not dead. What's wrong? Do you want me to die? Fang Yu asked with a smile. Cough cough. Of course not. You and I are in the same boat. If you're dead, how can I live? Of course, I don't want you to die. The dragon soul answered in a firm tone. Oh, is that so? Fang Yu had a half-smile on his face. He didn't believe him. Speaking of which, I clearly couldn't feel your aura before. I thought you were dead. Then, you are now. The dragon soul was bewildered. Its suspicions were not without reason. It was an existence that had ascended to the sage realm. How could it not know whether it was true or not? The problem was that it was certain that Fang Yu was most likely dead. However, he came back to life in the end. This was abnormal. I've become the owner of Dragon Sect. Fang Yu said leisurely. What? The dragon's soul thought that it was hallucinating, wasn't it? Just now, Fang Yu said that he had become the owner of Dragon Sect. This kind of thing was really not funny. I said, I've become the owner of Dragon Sect. Fang Yu repeated what he had just said. You've become the owner of Dragon Sect? This is not right. The dragon's soul was confused. This was Dragon Sect. It was not the mansion of a high official. It was not something that could be bought easily. Taking a step back, even the mansion of a high official was not something that could be bought easily, let alone the Dragon Sect that was highly respected by the Dragon Clan. What's wrong? I'm now the owner of Dragon Sect. What's your situation now? If you can move, come and kill this guy with me, Fang Yu said seriously. He still had a mission that he had yet to complete, so how could he let this evil demon off so easily? Good. Previously, I didn't have the ability. Now, I'm going to deal you a heavy blow, the dragon's soul said solemnly. Fang Yu kept feeling that there was something wrong with the dragon soul's words, but he couldn't be bothered to delve into it. With a thought, he directly transferred the dragon's soul and the dragon corpse over. Roar. As soon as the dragon's soul arrived, it controlled the dragon corpse and roared majestically. You can actually transfer it here out of thin air. You have really become the master of the Dragon Gate. The evil spirit's expression was extremely ugly. The reason why the Dragon Gate needed the assistance of the Dragon Bloodheart was because it was ownerless. If the Dragon Gate had an owner, even if it was just a replica, she would not be able to deal with it. Now, the worst-case scenario had occurred. Although he did not know where the Dragon Blood Core had gone, the Dragon Gate had a new master. This was not a good thing. As I said, I'm already the master of the Dragon Sect. Now, are you going to commit suicide or be killed by me? Fang Yu asked coldly. Good. Looks like you've become arrogant. I admit that you're indeed terrifying. Every time you do something unexpected, but you've just become the master of the Dragon Gate. Do you really think everything is so stable? The evil spirit asked sinisterly. Oh! Fang Yu was slightly stunned. Before he could communicate, the evil spirit had already charged over without any regard for anything else. What I mean is, as long as I kill you and search your soul, I'll know why you can become the master of the Dragon Gate. If a small fry like you can become the master of the Dragon Gate, why can't I? The evil spirit was extremely deranged. She had already lost once back then, and was suppressed here for many years. If she lost to Fang Yu again today, even if she did not die, she would not be able to avoid the pain of being imprisoned. She had never thought of continuing to stay here in the future. Therefore, either she or Fang Yu had to die today. Do you think I don't exist? The dragon's soul controlled the dragon corpse to attack. Initially, its integration with the dragon corpse was not progressing well. However, after Fang Yu became the master of the Dragon Gate, it felt that the integration between the two had suddenly become closer. It could now unleash 70% of the dragon corpse's power. 70% was not a lot, especially when the dragon corpse's strength was not too terrifying when it was alive. Fortunately, the evil spirit was not at its peak either. In this case, it was not impossible for them to fight. I've been looked down upon. You're just a mixed-blood dragon. Get lost. The evil spirit was enraged and sent the dragon's soul flying. Just as she had said, even if she was not as strong as she used to be, it was impossible for a mixed-blood dragon to shake her. Even if the mixed-blood dragon is still alive, it's no match for me, let alone you. The evil spirit said sarcastically. Damn you, you're infuriating me. The dragon's soul was furious. When the mixed-blood dragon was at its peak, it was only a martial emperor. However, it was a sacred realm existence known as a demon dragon. Fang Yu, I'll help you delay her and think of a way to deal with her. The dragon soul said. Divine Dragon Protection. Divine Dragon Light. Dragon Fury. The dragon's soul immediately superimposed many of the dragon's statuses on herself. This was the foundation that the dragon race had accumulated over generations. As long as the dragon race's cultivation reached a certain level, they would be able to use it. Therefore, it was not an exaggeration to say that the dragon race was blessed by nature. Although the dragon's soul did not have a physical body, it had once reached the sacred realm. Its understanding of these things was much stronger than that of the ordinary dragon race. It was not something that the ordinary dragon race could compare to. As such, the evil spirit's pressure multiplied. The evil spirit's expression changed drastically. She was just ridiculing these little insects who overestimated themselves. She did not expect this little insect to be a real dragon. In an instant, it burst forth with power that she had never seen before. I can only use the trump card that the first dean left for me. Fong Yu looked at the Azure Dragon Academy symbol on the back of his hand. Boom! When Fong Yu's mind came into contact with this symbol, the symbol of the Azure Dragon Academy was like a pure power that instantly merged with Fong Yu's limbs and bones. Martial King. In an instant, Fong Yu released the aura of a martial king. Martial king? No, it's a peak martial king. Fong Yu could feel that he was very powerful now. He was probably only half a step away from becoming a martial emperor. This, martial king? No, this is a half-step martial emperor. Even the sinister demons were dumbfounded. What was going on with this master and servant? It was as if the other party had cultivated for 100 years and had improved a lot. It was completely incomparable to the previous moment. Auntie, it's too late for you to leave now, the dragon's soul said with a sly smile. Auntie? Who's an auntie? Die. The word auntie also angered the evil spirit. Even though she knew that the situation was bad, she could not help but chase after the dragon's soul. Chapter 144. Seeing this, Fong Yu was speechless. This was the rhythm of not putting him in his eyes at all. Setting sun, blazing sun. Fong Yu slashed out with his saber and landed on the evil spirit. Rip! Fong Yu's saber tore the evil spirit's body apart, causing blood to spurt out. The evil spirit was indeed very strong, but it was not at its peak. It was not even half as strong as it was at its peak. Now that it was facing the dragon sex leader, a half-step martial monarch, Fong Yu, it did not have the slightest advantage. Arg. The evil spirit was extremely angry. However, when it wanted to say something, it felt something sweet in its throat and spat out a mouthful of blood. Looking at the blood on the ground, the evil spirit was shocked and angry. You injured me? Even a true martial monarch would not be able to injure me, let alone a half-step martial monarch. However, I am the dragon sex leader. Then, injuring you is not a big deal. Fong Yu said leisurely. That's right. A half-step martial monarch was not enough to challenge the evil spirit. However, a half-step martial monarch as the dragon sex leader was enough. Is that so? The evil spirit was so angry that it laughed. Are you going to die with me? Die with me? Are you worthy? Fong Yu smiled coldly. If the evil spirit had really hardened her heart to fight to the death with Fong Yu might not have been her match. After all, the evil spirit was a strange creature. If it self-destructed, it was unknown how much damage it would cause. Fong Yu was also unwilling to fight to the death for no reason. However, Fong Yu was in control of the situation now. Furthermore, he was the dragon sex leader. If the evil spirit wanted to self-destruct, he just had to move to another place immediately and the evil spirit's efforts would be in vain. It was impossible that the evil spirit did not think of this. Hence, it said so much just to scare Fong Yu. However, it did not know that Fong Yu was not an ordinary young man. He was very knowledgeable and experienced. Ordinary people could not imagine it. Seeing that its plan had failed, The evil spirit instantly hesitated. What to do? Fighting Fang Yu to the death was obviously not a good choice. Her life was precious, and she couldn't leave it here for nothing. Fang Yu, she wants to run. We are. The dragon soul asked Fang Yu. To be honest, even though Fang Yu had become a half-step martial monarch, the Dragon's Gate's sect master, and the dragon's corpse, he was still not confident in dealing with this evil spirit. This was an evil spirit. Literally, this was a true evil spirit. Normal power could not kill her completely. Therefore, after a long battle of attrition, they were the ones at a disadvantage. Let's fight. Fang Yu didn't agree to let the demons go. His mission was to repel the evil spirit. If he let it go, would it still be repelling? However, he believed that the evil demon was a smart person. After knowing that he would not retreat, the evil demon would take the initiative to retreat. There was no need to worry about that. The evil spirit fought with Fang Yu and the dragon's soul for another 15 minutes. It realized that they were becoming more and more difficult to deal with. It was impossible for it to kill them now. After a moment of hesitation, it fainted and fled. Evil demon, don't run! Fang Yu roared and slashed with all his strength. Third of the 9 heavenly sun blades, weakness break. Fang Yu tried to leave a mark on the evil spirit's body. Humph! The evil spirit snorted and burned its demonic soul. Its aura rose steadily. After dodging Fang Yu's attack, it did not counterattack. Instead, it broke through the restraint of the sky and fled. Boom! The evil spirit's attack broke through the sky, creating a hole that was only the size of a person. Then, it flew away. Damn it! She didn't dare to fight with me. She turned around and ran. Fang Yu could not help but curse. The moment he finished cursing, the sound of mission completion followed. Ding! Congratulations to the host for completing the mission. Next, you will receive the mission reward, random slaughter points. Ding! Congratulations to the host for receiving an additional reward. There are a total of 11 chances to draw slaughter points. Ding! According to the host's current authority, the number of slaughter points drawn each time is 10. 0, 100, 0. Fang Yu was stunned. Slaughter points? Good stuff. Fang Yu licked his lips. This was because he realized that if he wanted to have a good relationship with the super slaughter system, the only hard currency was slaughter points. As for the rest, it would be up to fate. Ding! First draw, 39. 0 slaughter points. Ding! Second draw, 88. 0 slaughter points. Ding! Third draw, 70. 0 slaughter points. Oh? My luck is not bad. Fang Yu's eyes lit up. In just a short while, he had obtained almost 200 slaughter points. However, just as Fang Yu was happy, he could not smile anymore. Ding! Fourth draw, 20. 0 slaughter points. Ding! Fifth draw, 9. 0 slaughter points. Ding! Sixth draw, 33. 0 slaughter points. Fang Yu's expression was sometimes happy and sometimes gloomy. It was very interesting. When the lottery ended, it showed that Fang Yu had obtained 635. 0 slaughter points. Not bad. Fang Yu lightly exhaled. 635. 0 slaughter points was already a result of good luck. Moreover, Fang Yu had never obtained more than 500. 0 slaughter points before. For a moment, Fang Yu was in a dilemma as to how to use the slaughter points. Huff, huff, huff. The evil spirit escaped from the dragon gate, and before anyone noticed, it quickly left. Damn it, damn it, damn it! If not for this brat, how would I have ended up in such a state? The evil spirit cursed Fang Yu in its heart. To tell the truth, everything that Fang Yu had done, his every move, was completely out of his expectations. Could it say that it had lived for so many years and had never met such an opponent? What is his background? No. If there is a chance, I must not let him live. Absolutely not. The evil spirit made up its mind. If there was a chance in the future, it would definitely eliminate the source of trouble and leave no one alive. However, before the evil spirit could completely leave the dragon pool, it was instantly locked down by a few auras. This is peak Martial King? And there are 3 of them. The evil spirit's expression changed. If it had recovered a portion of its strength, it would naturally not be afraid of them. However, in order to deal with Fang Yu, it had even burned its demonic soul. The worst thing was that after burning its demonic soul, it was still unable to successfully deal with Fang Yu and could only escape. Now that 3 people had suddenly appeared, it would be a lie if it said that it did not care. This is the evil spirit that was suppressed by the first Dean, the 3rd-generation demon clan? Among the 3 people, a woman asked curiously. Obviously, they had already learned about the evil spirit before coming. Who are you? Are you people from the Azure Dragon College? The evil spirit was extremely alert. Yes, one of the men lazily replied. He was not as interested in the evil spirit as the woman who had spoken first. Hello, we are the 3 heroes of the Azure Dragon College, the last person grinned. Chapter 145. 3 heroes? Haha. I don't care if you're one of the 3 heroes or the 4 heroes. Anyone who obstructs me will die. The evil spirit sneered. Although these warriors had the combat power of a martial king, there were only 3 of them outside the Dragon Gate. What could they do to her? However, she soon realized that she was too naive. Green Dragon Sealing Formation. Before the first Dean left, he had already told us how to deal with you. Now surrender. Seal. The 3 heroes attacked at the same time and caught the demon off guard. No. The demon resisted with all her might. However, she was no longer at her peak after fighting with Fang Yu. Now that she was sealed, she lost the chance to fight back and was sealed in a pillar that glowed with green light. Green Dragon Sealing Formation. Green Dragon Sealing Formation. This is the treasure that the first Dean left behind to deal with you. I didn't expect it to come in handy. The man in charge of the Green Dragon Sealing Formation said slowly. Are you done? If you're done, go back. The lazy man was still as lazy as ever. He was dressed in gray and looked sleepy, as if he had just woken up. No. We haven't settled the dragon sex matter. The woman tried to dissuade him. Every time you go back without completing your mission, we have to clean up the mess. That's not good. She was about the same age as the 2 men, but she had a strong aura. She seemed to be the leader of the 3. What's not good about it? As he spoke, the lazy man yawned, no longer in the mood to continue the conversation. Let's settle the dragon sex matter first. Many martial artists who received the invitation are trapped inside. If there are too many casualties, it will be hard to explain. The other man carried the Green Dragon Sealing Formation on his back. Even though the Green Dragon Sealing Formation had shrunk, it was still as tall as a person. Fortunately, he had a huge physique and could carry it without any hindrance. All right, the lazy man in gray reluctantly agreed. He owed too many missions previously. It was rare for him to come to this seemingly simple mission. If he couldn't complete it, it would affect his future application for the Academy's financial aid. That was why he had to make this trip. After all, it was related to his chance to become a martial emperor. He had to be more serious. How many slaughter points do I need to upgrade the slaughter mall? Fang Yu pondered for a long time before he asked. Ding. The current slaughter shop is level 3, the next level requires 500. 0 slaughter points. The super slaughter system replied. 500 0 slaughter points. Fang Yu hesitated. Last time, he was lucky enough to be able to fuse with his body and soul, which allowed him to remove quite a bit of authority in advance. He was even rewarded with O Slaughter Merchant City, +1. Other than the vitality pill, there was also the addition of the black medicine. Speaking of the black medicine, Fang Yu also had a strange expression on his face. Because the effects of the black medicine were random, among them, there were effects such as berserk, temporary enhancement, raising 1 minor realm, raising 3 minor realms, etc. However, there was no lack of negative effect. For example, emotional fluctuations, heightened desire, and other strange effects. Therefore, the black medicine was not necessarily a good thing. Perhaps he could still be saved, but after swallowing the black medicine, it would not be strange for him to explode on the spot. However, the advantages of the Slaughter Mall definitely outweigh the disadvantages. Upgrade. Fang Yu made up his mind and spent 500 slaughter points to upgrade the Slaughter Mall. Ding. Slaughter Mall, upgrade successful. Current level, level 4. Ding. In addition to the vitality pill and the black medicine, the Slaughter Mall also has a fixed output of bloodline essence. Ding. Bloodline essence contains a small amount of bloodline crystal. Price, 50 slaughter points. There's an additional fixed output, Fang Yu pondered. Bloodlines were very important in the myriad spirit continent. Of course, there were good and bad bloodlines. For example, Feng Yaoguang's personal maid, Li had the fragrant lady physique. This could also be considered a type of bloodline, because the physique had a high chance of being passed down to the next generation. If there was not a lot of it and it was not a very important bloodline, it would not be of much use. Fang Yu, why are you still in a daze? Now that the demon has escaped, what should we do? Although you have become the leader of the dragon sect, can you really take over the dragon sect? The dragon's soul hurriedly said. For things to turn out like this, it was definitely beyond their expectations. They still had some ability, but with the changes, it was impossible to control it. If there were too many monsters, they would only be eaten until not even their bones were left. But I inexplicably became the leader of the dragon sect. Even if you want me to hand over the dragon sect, I can't do it either. Fang Yu helplessly spread out his hands. He was speaking the truth. Becoming the leader of the dragon sect was a good thing done by the super slaughter system. If others wanted to snatch it, they would have to kill Fang Yu. No, even if they killed Fang Yu, they might not be able to obtain the dragon sect. This did not mean that Fang Yu was safe. Instead, it meant that Fang Yu's situation was even more dangerous and complicated. I can't just give up. Think about it, I'm such a kind dragon. Just because I was surrounded by 4 martial saints, they directly labeled me as a dangerous person. Don't you think I'm wronged? The dragon's soul complained. What exactly happened to you back then? Fang Yu couldn't help but ask. In fact, the dragon's soul had defended itself a few times for the blood sacrifice. It was just that Fang Yu didn't understand the dragon's soul at that time and didn't know if the dragon's soul really had other secrets or what. Because there was no lack of people in the world who thought that the weak were insignificant after becoming strong. Even if it went astray later on, it was not impossible. Fang Yu asked about what happened back then for the first time, which made the dragon's soul feel a little happy. One must know that Fang Yu didn't care if it had other secrets or what. He directly cut it off without caring about the real situation. Why are you suddenly concerned about me? Could it be? The dragon's soul replied shyly. Although you have the dragon sect, it's not impossible for the dragon race to ask for a dragon race noble lady. But our relationship is complicated. We are partners, you can't do this. Seeing the guy who always talked about the little female dragon become like this, Fang Yu felt helpless. If you want to say it, then say it. If you don't want to say it, then I won't ask. Fang Yu was too lazy to be entangled with the dragon's soul. God knows how much this guy's inner thoughts were. Okay, I'll say it. The dragon soul didn't let go of this opportunity to clear its name to Feng Yu. In fact, my blood sacrifice was really accidental. Back then, I went to a place near a water source. I thought it was fun and directly stayed at their water source. Chapter 146. Feng Yu did not reply. Because the dragon soul's method was not strange. The dragon race, or creatures related to the dragon race, most of them liked to settle down in places like water sources. Cultivation emphasized the right time, the right place, and the right people. Being close to a water source, there was a geographical advantage. Why not? If it was Feng Yu himself, he would also do the same. However, after I lived here for a period of time, I discovered that the situation was not right. The water source here contained a type of poison. Water poison. This is a very profound method. It unknowingly entered the body of others. Even I did not discover it at first. Of course, this kind of poison has no effect on the dragon race. It does not even have any negative effects. It can even increase the speed by a bit. I cultivated in a water source. My speed was naturally faster. How could I discover so much? The dragon soul sighed again and again. When I discovered it, the people in this area had already been infected by the poison and had become walking corpses. This poison has been lurking for a very long time. No one was lucky enough to escape. The most frightening thing was that some of these people still stubbornly maintained their will and wanted to escape to other places. And I sensed that the water poison has a certain degree of infection. If they were to escape, the consequences would be unimaginable. Feng Yu said with a serious expression. He had not encountered this kind of thing before, but it did not prevent Feng Yu from knowing this point. Yes, at that time I did not know what to do. Moreover, I discovered something even more frightening. This water poison is a very advanced thing. Even if the martial artists and mortals who were infected died, they would turn into a type of vengeful spirit energy. If it was someone who cultivated in the same direction, they could use this to become stronger. The dragon soul's expression was as ugly as it could be, just like in the past. This shows that the person who designed this is a unique monster. This person's cultivation direction is not only one, so he arranged many kinds of changes. In any case, he would benefit from it in the end. Feng Yu's expression also became heavy. In this kind of situation, other than asking for help from the super slaughter system, it would be difficult to find a better way. Unless I become a saint? With that in mind, Feng Yu looked at the dragon soul again. Yes, it's just as you think. I could have become a saint at that time, but I didn't need to rush to do so. I was still too young. If I had been willing to accumulate my foundation and become a saint one day, the benefits I would have obtained would have been endless. However, I had no other choice at that time. If I didn't use the power when I became a saint to purify all of this, I'm afraid they would never be able to make a comeback. After all, once one's soul was destroyed, one would be completely dead. The light of heaven and earth, when one becomes a saint, can avoid this problem. Thus, it's not wrong to say that I sacrificed them in the end. However, there's also something wrong with it. It can only be because I wasn't strong enough and could only resort to such a method. The dragon's soul smiled bitterly. After that, I was discovered by the so-called 4 great martial sages, and a great battle broke out. I was no match for them and could only flee. Blood sacrifice is always wrong, at least most of the time. Feng Yu shook his head and said, "The light of heaven and earth method is not bad. Aren't you contradicting yourself?" The dragon's soul rolled its eyes at Feng Yu and said, "The light of heaven and earth will only appear when one becomes a saint. It's not like cabbages. How can I have it whenever I want? How does it compare to becoming the leader of the dragon sect?" Feng Yu replied. The dragon soul couldn't answer this question. All in all, the commotion here will definitely attract people from the Azure Dragon Institute. After all, it's something left behind by the first dean. I think they should have a way to deal with demons. Feng Yu went back to the topic. Yes, this isn't strange at all. Even if this matter isn't announced to the world, it's not strange to warn people from the Azure Dragon Institute in private. The dragon's soul nodded. Then you want to, I have a bold idea. Feng Yu replied calmly. Aya, this is the dragon sect? This is the first time I've seen it. The woman with a strong aura looked at the floating dragon sect in the distance, and was shocked. Everything about the dragon sect was recorded in the handbook left behind by the first dean. It included the mission of the first dean's guardian and so on. However, it was the first time she had seen the real dragon sect, even if it was a replica. Interesting. The lazy man in gray was slightly interested. Let's deal with the current situation first. The demons are dead, but there are still many people trapped inside. Moreover, we need to verify why the demons escape. The man with the demon sealing pillar on his back said. At this moment, many people near the Great Dragon Lake noticed the three people coming together. However, no one dared to ask. Because they were three peak martial kings. Peak martial kings, I wonder if they have reached the threshold of martial emperor. If they can vaguely feel the threshold of martial emperor, they can be called half-step martial emperors. Even if the will of heaven is like a knife, who knows how long it will take to reach the next half-step. They are still incomparable to ordinary people. Someone couldn't help but think. The three heroes didn't care about the gazes. They looked at each other and prepared to force their way in. Although the dragon sect was in a sealed state, the first dean still left some methods for them to solve the problem at the critical moment. However, before they could do anything, the dragon sect suddenly lit up. Then, figures were thrown out one by the dragon sect. Swish! 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 They were like pebbles falling into the water that had been separated from each other. The three heroes were stunned. What's going on? Bang! Feng Yu was also thrown out. He soaked in the water and looked at the dragon sect. When the last person was also thrown out, the dragon gate actually started to spin and then flew away. The dragon sect flew away? The three heroes didn't know what to do. They had never imagined such an outcome. Should we chase after it? The woman with the powerful aura couldn't help but ask. Can we? The lazy man in gray didn't have the intention to chase. They had two main tasks. The first was to kill the demons. If they couldn't kill them, they would seal them and bring them back to the forbidden area of the Azure Dragon College. They would let the demon sealing pillar destroy them bit by bit. The second task was to save these young martial artists. Now that they had achieved both tasks, he didn't want to complicate matters. Maybe it's going to return to the first dean? The man with the demon sealing pillar pondered for a while and said, It's possible. The woman was stunned for a moment and nodded slightly. There were many martial artists nearby who had been to Hidden Dragon Mountain a few days ago. They looked at the dragon sect flying further and further away and fell into deep thought. Why did this scene seem familiar, as if they had seen it somewhere before? Chapter 147. Ugh, the martial artists who had been thrown into the water woke up one after another. Soon, they realized that not everyone had escaped unscathed. Some martial artists had stayed in the Dragon Gate forever. What's going on? You need to give us an explanation. That's right. So many martial artists died. We can't let them die in vain. You have to take responsibility for Zhenbao Tower. Soon, everyone's target was Zhenbao Tower, the culprit. Feng Yaoguang sneered in pain. Did these people not enter the Dragon Gate? Once they entered the Dragon Gate, they were responsible for their own lives. Could it be that they were still young and needed others to clean up their mess? In any case, there was no way she was going to admit to this debt. Even if it was related to them, it would still be the same. Everyone's expression turned ugly. They were not inexperienced brats. How could they not understand what was going on when they saw such a scene? Obviously, they did not want to make a wasted trip. Cough cough. Everyone, listen to me. Suddenly, a pleasant female voice rang out. Everyone looked over and saw that it was a few peak martial kings talking. They immediately fell silent. They were peak martial kings. They were existences that they had to look up to. Even if some of the families had martial emperors or martial grandmasters, it was nonsense to say that such young peak martial kings would not be able to break through to martial emperor in the future. We're from the Azure Dragon College. We're called the Three Heroes, the female martial king said with a smile. The Three Heroes. So it's the Three Heroes of the Azure Dragon College. They're in the top 3 of the Azure Dragon leaderboard. They'll become martial emperors sooner or later. Not only that, the Three Heroes will be in the top 3 for more than 3 months. They're the true experts of the Azure Dragon College. Recognizing who they were, the crowd did not dare to act rashly. Everyone knew that the Three Heroes were the face of the Azure Dragon College's younger generation. They either wanted to enter the 4 colleges or had family members who wanted to enter the 4 colleges. Offending the Azure Dragon College at this juncture was not a wise choice. The higher-ups of our college have already come to a conclusion about the culprit. Please follow me back to the college. The female martial king said with a smile. Senior martial sister, may I ask who you are? Kagwang said after a moment of hesitation. I'm Han Chiu. He's Lin Tian. The female martial king pointed at herself and then pointed at the lazy man. As for him, he's Xiafeng. In the end, Han Chiu pointed at Xiafeng. Senior Xiafeng is number 1 on the Azure Dragon leaderboard. Han Chiu, Lin Tian, and Xiafeng, are these the 3 heroes of the Azure Dragon Institute? Everyone was shocked. You, and you. Han Chiu smiled and pointed at a few people. She stretched out her hand and grabbed at them from a distance. Of course, this was also because Fang Yu and the others did not resist. Otherwise, even a peak martial king would not be able to control their bodies easily. Oh! Fang Yu glanced around and realized that those who were being lifted up were the rare few who hadn't been controlled. Little sister, I'm innocent, Mo Ling acted coquettishly, hoping that Han Chiu would let her off. A genius disciple of the Mystery Hall? Sizing up Mo Ling, Han Chiu did not wait for Mo Ling to reply before tossing him aside. Stand properly. Yes, Mo Ling sighed. She knew that the 3 heroes of the Azure Dragon Institute were not ordinary people. They could ignore her, the runner-up of the Mystery Hall's younger generation. There was no need to give her too much face. Fang Yu was also captured without a fight. 3 peak martial kings from the Azure Dragon Institute, there was an 80 to 90% chance that he would not be able to defeat them. Compared to being suppressed after resisting, it seemed that surrendering was not a bad thing. As for the Dragon Sect, he was not worried. Under his orders, the Dragon Sect and the Dragon Soul had gone far away and returned. After Han Chiu finished counting the culprits, she said with a smile, "The people from the Azure Dragon Institute will take over. Everyone, just wait for the good news." Is there a need to be so clear? Lin Tian said with a yawn. He did not like to waste time on such trivial matters. Of course. We are the face of the Azure Dragon Institute. If we make a mistake, people will think that the Azure Dragon Institute is like this. Xiafeng said seriously. All right, let's go. Lin Tian had no intention of continuing the topic. The airship from the Azure Dragon Institute has arrived, get on. Han Chiu said to Fang Yu and the others. We're not prisoners. Feng Yaoguang said indignantly. In response, Fang Yu looked at her deeply and said, Have you forgotten what happened before? What happened before? Feng Yaoguang was very confused. Then, as if she suddenly remembered something, she shouted at the old woman in white and the monolith swordsman, Take care of everything for me. I'll be back soon. The corner of Wang Zhong's mouth twitched. This girl probably did not know that the commotion in the Dragon Institute was related to her. If she knew, she would not be so calm. You really don't remember what happened in there? Fang Yu asked. Apart from him, no one else was in a position to ask. Or rather, there was no need to ask this question. I don't remember. What did I do? Feng Yaoguang asked in confusion. After they were thrown out of the Dragon Institute, the three heroes rushed them to the airship in a hurry. They did not have time to ask or say anything. Fang Yu helplessly recounted everything that happened in the Dragon Institute. When he talked about how the evil spirit chased after him, the three heroes looked at him as well. It was obvious that they had captured the evil spirit, but they still wanted to know why it escaped. I activated a mark left behind by the first Dean. The mark repelled the evil spirit with the power of the dragon blood heart. In my opinion, the evil spirit must have suffered a great loss at the hands of the first Dean. When it saw the mark left behind by the first Dean, it panicked and fled in a panic. After that, it was thrown out. Fang Yu smiled bitterly and said, I haven't had time to ask if there are any treasures to share with me. Seeing this, no one said anything. Everyone could tell that Fang Yu's words were half true and half false. As for what was true and what was false, it was up to them to distinguish between them. Forget it. Anyway, there will be elders to check if what you said is true or false. We don't have to worry about other things. Han Xiu rubbed her forehead. She could not be bothered to probe further. In any case, the elders of the Dragon Institute would deal with it. She did not have to worry too much. Elders? Check. Hearing this, He Ping's already ugly face turned even paler. Because from Fang Yu's description, she knew what happened to her in the Dragon Institute. Chapter 148. Being possessed by an evil spirit, harming cultivators and so on, the series of crimes made He Ping dizzy. She couldn't bear any of the crimes. Although she was strengthened to a 9-star martial master, it was still unknown whether the situation was good or bad. After all, she wanted to walk the path of a martial ancestor. She couldn't just blindly raise her cultivation. Little sister, you're quite disdainful. Although it won't endanger your life, let me remind you that you have no other choice but to join the Azure Dragon region. Han Xiu retracted her smile and said seriously. As a senior, she didn't want the younger generation to think that she was too rigid. However, there were some things that even she couldn't just brush over lightly. She could only explain the cause and effect and how to deal with it. Join the Azure Dragon region? He Ping was startled. Yes, you caused such a mess at the Dragon Lake. Naturally, we have to clean up after you. So, as a reward, you have to join the Azure Dragon region. Han Xiu smiled and said, Do you think what I said makes sense? This, He Ping was stunned. She didn't know whether to nod or shake her head. After all, in this situation, nodding or shaking her head didn't seem right. If you don't join the Azure Dragon region, then you'll have committed a serious crime. If you join, you'll be our student and a 9-star martial master. There's a lot of things that can be discussed. Lin Tian said lazily. Although I'm one of the 3 heroes, many of my missions are left unfinished and the Academy helped me deal with them. Why is that so? Strength is one thing. I'm a student of the Azure Dragon region. That's the key. Everyone was enlightened. The key is that you guys have caused trouble for the Azure Dragon region. We can't just let you guys off so easily, right? Lin Tian went back to the main topic. Everyone looked at each other and felt that it made sense. Let's talk about it when we return to the Azure Dragon region. Xiaofeng said firmly. But the selection will be held soon, Wang Zhong frowned. If they couldn't make it in time, they would have wasted their trip. As for becoming a student of the Azure Dragon region, it wouldn't be so simple. After all, this kind of thing was unheard of. It's not strange that you don't understand. After all, there aren't many who can cause as much trouble as you. Let me explain it this way. Now, we'll bring you back to the academy for investigation. If there are no problems, we'll make the necessary arrangements. Xiaofeng said with certainty. As for whether it will affect the selection or not, we will make other arrangements. Anyway, our school has some special channels and special enrollment quotas. You can rest assured. Seeing this, everyone felt relieved. It was good that there were arrangements. He was just afraid that they would be taken away and miss the selection. If that happened, he would be stuck between two ends of the river. Seniors said that there's a special channel and quota. I wonder what it is, Fang Yu asked curiously. It means that you are very outstanding in a certain aspect, such as forging, refining medicine, etc. However, generally speaking, you need to be at the master level. You are still young, and there is still a long way to go before you can become a master. Han Xiu glanced at Fang Yu and the others before her gaze finally landed on Lu Shenzhan. Lu Shuzhan was a half-step master. However, Heaven's will was like a knife. Who knew how long and how far it would take to reach the half-step? Therefore, Han Xiu did not think that they could really enter the academy through these special channels. However, there were always exceptions. Since this matter was related to the arrangements made by the first dean, it was not impossible to be flexible. While everyone was thinking, the transport airship flew further and further away. We're here. This is the Azure Dragon Institute. After half a day, Xiaofeng suddenly said. Everyone looked outside and their eyes lit up. Below the airship was a huge island. The island was very big, like a city-state. In fact, it was not an island because there was a road between it and the land. It was often submerged by the sea, and there were many small islands on the way. It was like a complete kingdom. This is the Azure Dragon Institute? Fang Yu's eyes lit up. To be honest, the arrangement of the Azure Dragon Institute was beyond his imagination. In addition, Fang Yu was also concerned about the location of the Void Martial Emperor's cave. There are so many islands here. It would not be strange for one of them to hide the Void Martial Emperor's cave. The more Fang Yu looked, the more he felt that it was possible. One of the specialties of our Azure Dragon Academy is that we have a lot of caves, so many that you won't be able to count them all. What you see now is merely a drop in the ocean, the rest are all covered up by formations. If you become an official student, especially if you get a star evaluation or above, you can directly choose a place to build your cave. Han Xiu introduced enthusiastically. Obviously, in her opinion, Fang Yu and the others were good seedlings. As long as there were no major problems, they would be released after some investigation. Now that the advantages of the Azure Dragon Institute were revealed in advance, whether they were accepted or directly participated in the selection, there were many benefits. This was because the Azure Dragon Institute had a different attitude toward thorns. The so-called troublemaker, in other words, was a person who could cause trouble and cause trouble. In other words, they were quite capable. The Azure Dragon Institute was not afraid of them causing trouble, but they were afraid of them not having the ability. The transport airship landed. There were already elders waiting for the handover. After all, it was something left behind by the first dean. If there was a problem, they would not be able to escape the blame. Xiaofeng and the others, come with me. A white-haired elder wearing a long robe asked Xiaofeng and the others to bring the Azure Dragon Demon Sealing Pillar with him. If such a thing is not placed in the sealed area, they will not be at ease. Sealed area? You mean a lot of such things are placed there? If something happens, wouldn't it be worse? Mo Ling asked with interest. Fang Yu glanced at her and found that when this girl spoke, there was a trace of indescribable excitement. It was as if she wanted to see the world in chaos. He could not help but roll his eyes. Our Azure Dragon Institute has been passed down for many years. We have our own understanding of how to prevent accident. Little girl, you don't need to worry too much. The elder looked at Emo Ling and said, You are Emo Ling, a disciple of the Tianji Hall, right? You recognize me? Emo Ling was slightly stunned. She did not remember knowing the elders of the Azure Dragon Institute. Could it be that she remembered wrongly? Chapter 149. You have a senior sister called Zhu Xingyao, right? The long-robed elder asked with a faint smile. This. You know my senior sister? Emo Ling's face turned pale as soon as she heard the name. It was as though her previous mischievous behavior had nothing to do with her. Fang Yu was curious. Why does it seem like Emo Ling is afraid of her senior sister? I met her when I was returning. She said that her junior sister might come to the Azure Dragon Institute and asked me to take care of her if I met her. I didn't expect you to really come. The long-robed elder said with a smile. No, that's impossible. Emo Ling's face turned ugly. I was predicted by her again? How is that possible? Predicted by her again? Fang Yu was puzzled. One of the reasons why this senior sister of mine has always been above me is because my every move is always within her expectations. Whatever I want to do, she's completely calculated by me. In this way, how do you think I can win against her? Emo Ling smiled bitterly. I thought that I would be able to influence her prediction if I went to the Dragon Gate. I didn't expect that I would still. That's not right. Although your senior sister predicted that you would come to the Azure Dragon Institute, she couldn't predict how you would change in the Azure Dragon Institute. The long-robed elder said with a smile. What do you mean? Emo Ling asked pitifully. Many people rolled their eyes when they saw Emo Ling's appearance. They didn't know if she was really afraid of her senior sister or if she was faking it. That's because the 4 institutes are guarded by the descendants of divine beasts. Unless your senior sister becomes a martial honorable, it'll be very difficult for her to make a prediction. She'll have to pay a huge price. You're both senior and junior sisters and competitors. Is it worth it to cause such a commotion over such a small matter? I don't think she'll go that far. The elder replied with a smile. I see. Then I can go to any of the 4 institutes? Emo Ling rolled her eyes as she replied. The elder's smile froze. He didn't know how to reply. Humph! The long-robed elder snorted, flicked his sleeves, and left. You did that on purpose, right? Fang Yu asked. How can you say that I did it on purpose? I'm really scared of my senior sister, okay? Sigh. Emo Ling said seriously. Hey, elder! Pausing for a moment, Emo Ling suddenly called out to the long-robed elder. Did my senior sister say if I'll be able to fight him in the future? She didn't say anything about that, but the long-robed elder's gaze swept over Fang Yu and the others and she said, among the younger generation of the Azure Dragon Academy, there is a lifelong enemy. Lifelong enemy? Lu Shenzhan and the others breathed heavily. Truth be told, they wanted to become Zhu Xingyao's lifelong enemies. After all, she was the strongest disciple of the Heavenly Mystery Hall's younger generation. One could imagine how powerful she was to become her lifelong enemy. However, they did not want to become Zhu Xingyao's lifelong enemy. That was because Emo Ling was already a monstrous genius. However, he was completely helpless against Zhu Xingyao. How could they deal with a person that even Emo Ling was helpless against? The moment they thought of this, their thoughts became contradictory. Don't think too much about it. Although your talents are not bad, you haven't even passed the selection. Another elder said faintly. She was different from the white-robed elder. She always had a dark expression on her face, causing people to tremble in fear. No one dared to speak casually for fear of offending her. It's the black-faced god, she's in charge of these newcomers? They can't be considered newcomers. They haven't even passed the selection. But their cultivation, tsk. I don't believe that they won't pass the selection." A few disciples in charge of patrolling the gates whispered to each other. Although the selection of the 4 great academies wasn't simple, there was a common saying that a 5-star martial Grand Master would definitely pass the selection. The only question was what rank they would receive in the end. Everyone knew that the selection of the 4 great academies was said to have 3 ranks, but in reality there were 4. Sun, moon, star, and nothing. Nothing was nothing. It was just a pass. There was no rank evaluation. Even if they passed, they would still be part of the selection. If it was meaningless, they would still be able to enter the 4 great academies. If there was a great significance, the significance of being at the bottom was something that many people wouldn't want. This was because cultivators with the sun, moon, and star evaluations would receive good rewards after entering the 4 great academies. They would be able to widen the gap between them. Originally, the gap between them was already very big. If the gap was widened, they would definitely be further and further away. These disciples in charge of patrolling the gates had once received a star evaluation. After entering the academy, they had indeed received a chance to improve. Unfortunately, they hadn't fully grasped the opportunity and didn't receive many benefits. As a result, they were reduced to guarding the gates. Otherwise, if they were stronger, they would be able to complete more missions. They wouldn't have ended up in such a state. "You don't have to follow me." Elder Black-Faced God pointed out Fang Yu and said, "Vice Principal Wang wants to see you." "Vice Principal Wang wants to see me? Who is Vice Principal Wang?" Fang Yu was dumbfounded. Could he say that he really didn't know Vice Principal Wang? Vice Principal Wang? Lu Tianbing and the others were also stunned. To be able to become a vice principal of the 4 great academies, one would at least have the strength of a martial ancestor, or even a martial honorable. Fang Yu actually knew such a person. One really couldn't judge a book by its cover. You'll know when you see him. Elder Black-Faced God didn't have any intention of saying more. Fang Yu could only follow another student to meet Vice Principal Wang in a daze. Actually, meeting with Vice Principal Wang might not necessarily be a bad thing. Junior, after all, Vice Principal Wang's authority is greater than yours. If you handle this properly, it wouldn't be strange for you to directly become a member of our Azure Dragon Academy. The young girl leading the way said with a smile. She looked to be about the same age as Fang Yu, but she had already stepped into the martial spirit realm. Obviously, she belonged to the other half of the academy. "Senior, may I ask, why did Vice Principal Wang personally inspect me?" Fang Yu thought for a moment and asked. "I really don't know. Vice Principal Wang is a mysterious person. I also don't know why he did this." The young girl leading the way thought for a moment and said with some difficulty, "However, rumor has it that in the academy, other than the current principal who has long been wandering outside, Vice Principal Wang is the strongest. It seems that he has reached the martial honorable realm." Martial honorable? Fang Yu's expression became serious. Martial honorable was a realm second only to martial saint. There weren't many experts of this level in the 4 great academies. Chapter 150. However, Vice Principal Wang is very elusive and often travels the world. It's rare for us to meet. The girl leading the way said helplessly. "Travels the world? Spiritual sense?" Fang Yu asked. "No. Rumor has it that after becoming a martial venerable, one would have the ability to turn illusions into reality and could even refine a high-level external avatar. Of course, I'm not too sure about the specifics. After all, I've just become a martial spirit." The girl leading the way sighed. Seeing this, Fang Yu's expression turned serious. In some small places, a martial grandmaster was already an important indicator of a clan's strength. For example, the 3 big clans of Skylight City would need at least one martial grandmaster to stabilize their position. However, 4 clans like the 3 big clans that had existed for hundreds of years, they would usually have at least 2 martial grandmasters. As for warriors at the martial spirit level, they could be called grand ancestors. However, in the Azure Dragon region, it was just a passing line. Although at least half of the students in the 4 big academies could not break through to martial spirit, this half was an average number and not a constant. Furthermore, being unable to break through now did not mean that it would not be possible in the future. Those who could enter the 4 big academies were already outstanding people. No matter how weak they were, they would not be too weak. Thinking of this, Fang Yu could not help but feel a fire in his heart. If he wanted to become stronger, he should go to such a place with crouching tigers and hidden dragons. Yes, I forgot to ask Senior for your name. Fang Yu seemed to have thought of something and said, "Me? I'm Chun Lingshan." The girl leading the way smiled and replied, "Senior Lingshan, I'm Fang Yu." Fang Yu introduced himself. Chun Lingshan smiled and said, "Junior Fang Yu. Vice Principal Wang, I've brought him." In front of the door of a magnificent building, the girl leading the way, Chun Lingshan, reported softly. Fang Yu muttered in his heart. Who was Vice Principal Wang? How could he know such an important person? Could it be? Fang Yu thought of a person and a possibility, but he quickly shook his head and rejected it. It should not be him. Otherwise, it would be a big surprise this time. "Come in." An emotionless voice came from within the building. Fang Yu's heart thumped. "Go in. My mission ends here," Chun Lingshan said with a smile. Fang Yu braced himself and pushed the door open. Inside the building was a figure with his back facing Fang Yu. Fang Yu could not see his expression. After the door closed, the figure slowly turned around. Old Wang. Recognizing that this face really belonged to Geezer Wang, Fang Yu was shocked speechless. It really was Geezer Wang. Although he thought that it might be Geezer Wang, after discovering that it was really Geezer Wang, he was still shocked speechless. "What? Are you surprised?" Geezer Wang, no, Vice Principal Wang asked with a smile. "Ahem, yes." Fang Yu did not deny it. It was indeed too shocking. The originally slovenly old Wang had suddenly become the Azure Dragon Academy's Vice Principal Wang. "Are you sure you are not joking?" "I am Vice Dean Wang, also the old Wang you know, because this is nothing more than an external incarnation of mine. Your special invitation letter was given to you by me," Vice Principal Wang said frankly. Fang Yu felt helpless. "Everything was said by you, what else can I say?" "Then you want me to meet you in private for?" Fang Yu's heart moved as he said. "No, I did not think that you would cause such a thing before the selection." Vice Principal Wang rolled his eyes and said, "Do you think that a normal martial artist would go to the Great Dragon Pond and dig 100 feet underground for no reason? Am I not one? I am a normal martial artist," Fang Yu said with a helpless face. "Ha. Vice Principal Wang chuckled. "I wonder how Azure Dragon Academy is going to deal with us?" Fang Yu went straight to the point. Since he was an acquaintance, there was no need to hide anything. "First of all, I want to say that I am Geezer Wang, but Geezer Wang is not completely me. My avatar is only a part of me, not all of me," Vice Principal Wang said seriously. "In other words, what you know is only a part of me, and as the Vice Principal, I have to be fair and just." "Then how many special invitations did you send out?" "Currently, only you. Then isn't it settled?" Fang Yu spread out his hands, making Vice Principal Wang speechless. "In addition, I think these special invitations should have some kind of meaning, right? It is most likely not as simple as sending them out casually," Fang Yu said again. "You brat," Vice Principal Wang's pupils contracted. How did this brat know everything? Yes. Special invitations actually have another meaning. When the selection is over, the students who received the special invitations will be responsible for the selection of their respective academies. An individual's ranking is important, but the ranking of the academies is equally important. It will affect the distribution of certain resources that the 4 great academies will jointly develop. Of course, the students responsible for the selection will not necessarily join the academies that sent out the special invitations. Generally speaking, joining the corresponding academies will bring about the greatest benefit. Vice Principal Wang was silent for a long time, before coming clean to Fang Yu. The most important point is that the special invitations of the 4 great academies have a fixed range. We cannot go beyond this range to find people. The other elders who received the special invitations have yet to report back. However, in my case, I have indeed found you. At this point, how could Fang Yu not understand? Recently, within the Azure Dragon Academy's jurisdiction, there were not many people who could be called outstanding. At the very least, Vice Principal Wang had only found Fang Yu for the time being. As for the others, if they did not have the qualifications, they might as well not choose. Oh? Mo Ling, Lu Shuzhan and the others. Fang Yu seemed to have recalled something and said. He admitted that he was outstanding, but to say that the others did not have the ability was too much. The powers behind them will not allow it. They do not wish to participate in the competition between the 4 great academies, even if they personally agree. Vice Principal Wang shook his head and waved his hand. That's right, Lu Shuzhan, Lu Tianbing, Mo Ling and the others were ready-made candidates. The problem was that the powers behind them were tangled and complicated. They would not offend another academy for the sake of one academy. Feng Yaoguang's father, King Duobao, was a legitimate graduate of the Azure Dragon Academy. The problem was that Feng Yaoguang was lacking in the special invitations. Rather than letting half a bucket of water go, he might as well not go. Fang Yu, it could be said that Vice Principal Wang had made a huge gamble. In the end, his gamble paid off. Fang Yu was indeed terrifying beyond compare. In a short month, he had improved to such a level. This was something that Vice Principal Wang had never expected. Chapter 151. With my current situation, is it possible for me to get a good ranking? Fang Yu rolled his eyes and said. He was confident, but he was not arrogant. He was very clear that there were many indescribable peerless experts in the world. They could not be judged by common sense. He had the super slaughter system, but didn't he still fall into danger several times and almost lose his life? Thus, Fang Yu was not arrogant enough to think that he was invincible. Unless you can become a peak martial grandmaster, your chances are at most in the top 10. Vice Principal Wang lightly shook his head. From what I know, other than the Azure Dragon Institute, there is at least one peak martial grandmaster who received a special invitation, and the top 3 are the majority. Then you want me to become a peak martial grandmaster? Fang Yu smiled. How can there be such a good thing? You are now a 7-star martial grandmaster, 2 levels away from a 9-star martial grandmaster. If you are given this good fortune for no reason, can you swallow it? Vice Principal Wang rolled his eyes and said. However, there are exceptions to everything. If you can perform outstandingly in the selection and get first place, it is not impossible for me to give you this preferential treatment. After a pause, Vice Principal Wang continued. Fang Yu smiled but did not say anything. Could he say that what he was waiting for was Vice Principal Wang's but? But the selection is full of crouching tigers and hidden dragons. It is not simple. Speaking of which, will the ranking be done after the selection or when? Fang Yu placed great importance on the evaluation of the stars, the moon, and the sun. The special invitation of the 4 great academies is a kind of competition. It looks like a performance, but in fact it determines a lot of things. Usually, one person will be chosen from the people who received the special invitation. Of course, in the past, there have been cases where 2 or 3 people were chosen. But this time, we only have you, and you may not necessarily perform well in the selection. Vice Principal Wang said slowly. Fang Yu rolled his eyes at Vice Principal Wang. Obviously, Vice Principal Wang said this to give him a heads up so that he would not ask for a sky-high price. Don't worry. Since I, Fang Yu, was able to be recognized by the first principal, it shows my ability. Wait. You said before, how did you discover the Dragon Gate? Is it the item of the Dragon Clan that you are carrying that resonates with the Dragon Gate? No, it was the first principal who summoned me. That's not what you said earlier. That's what I'm saying now. Vice President Wang was silent. Fang Yu continued, how are you going to punish us? Let's see if you've come prepared. You're doing this on purpose. We can seal the demons, but if nothing unexpected happens, the demons themselves will vanish in 10 years. You're just making things difficult for us. Furthermore, the few of you just so happen to be pretty strong contestants. Forcefully stopping you from participating in the selection is a bit too much. All in all, we are still very friendly towards those who can bring glory to our Azure Dragon Academy. Vice Principal Wang said with a smile. It sounded like a comfort, but it also sounded like a warning. Even the first dean has acknowledged me. Is that not enough proof? Fang Yu asked. The first dean, his situation is a little special. Vice President Wang sighed softly and said, You don't know the specifics. I'll be frank with you now. As long as you can pass the heart-refining forest, I'll let you participate in the selection. Moreover, you'll skip the first round and enter the second round, because in terms of time, you won't be able to make it in time for the first round. The first round? Fang Yu asked with interest. As everyone knows, the selection of the 4 great academies is usually divided into auditions, primaries, semifinals, and finals. The first round is the auditions. This round isn't difficult, but close to 30% of the contestants will be eliminated. The primaries are the second round. About 20% of the contestants will still be eliminated in this round. The remaining 50% will enter the semifinals. This round is the longest, lasting for a month. It's similar to the survival mode, but it's more difficult than the survival mode. Vice President Wang briefly revealed the rules. Fang Yu seemed to be deep in thought. After you've passed the heart-refining forest test, you'll enter the primaries and the preliminaries directly. Vice President Wang leisurely paced around. As for the exhibition round, that's after the finals. It's a little complicated, but it doesn't seem that complicated. Fang Yu looked at Vice President Wang. I don't know what the prizes for the exhibition round are. I'm talking about the individual prizes. Although the prizes the academies could obtain were equally important to the subsequent prizes, Fang Yu still prioritized the things that could reach his hands. The other things were too far in the future. Is the Divine Beast Blood Essence enough? Vice President Wang said with deep meaning. The genuine Divine Beast Blood Essence isn't limited to our Azure Dragon Academy. Vermilion Bird Academy, Black Tortoise Academy, and White Tiger Academy will all send their Divine Beast Blood Essence. 4 types of Divine Beast Blood Essence. Fang Yu immediately thought of a technique that the Dragon Soul had mentioned before. That's right, the 4 Saints Heaven and Earth book. Vice President Wang seemed to have seen through Fang Yu's thoughts. He said, Heaven-level technique, 4 Saints Heaven and Earth book. The basic requirement is to fuse 4 types of Divine Beast Blood Essence. Now, there are still some forces that can take out the essence blood of divine beasts, but to collect 4 at the same time is very, very difficult. No one wants to have one more competitor, so there is basically no other possibility for this kind of opportunity except for winning the exhibition competition. The super slaughter system might have a way, Fang Yu mumbled as he thought to himself. After all, the super slaughter system was indeed omnipotent. Even the owner of the Dragon Gate could be replaced by Fang Yu without anyone noticing. What else could it not do? Vice President Wang secretly glanced at Fang Yu and found that Fang Yu was indeed tempted. He couldn't help but smile. Many times, one wasn't afraid of the other party asking for too much. One was afraid that the other party had no desires. Since Fang Yu was tempted, he wasn't afraid that Fang Yu wouldn't agree. Anyway, we have to make a trip to the heart refining forest first. If we can't pass the test of the heart refining forest, then everything will be out of the question. Fang Yu asked. That's right, heart refining forest. This will be able to test whether your involvement in this matter was accidental or intentional. Vice President Wang nodded. The heart refining forest is the blood and sweat of several presidents. If you are really innocent, then you will be safe and sound in the heart refining forest. So magical? Fang Yu was amazed. He thought of something and said, "Why do you pay so much attention to the heart refining forest? Did something happen there?" You're tuning in to the Phoenix Nights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.